Race of Champions returns in 2023 to Peter Havsbad in Sweden. There really is nowhere else on earth quite like it, and there is no competition on earth quite like the Race of Champions. The weather is idyllic. It is picture perfect out here as we get ready to race on the snow and ice. Welcome then, folks, to Race of Champions 2023. Today is all about the Nations Cup. My name is Will Bucks and I'll be your commentator this weekend. And that is the draw for the Nations Cup, which will get underway shortly. Drivers representing countries from around the world prepare to do battle once again on the snow and ice. But what, you may ask, is the Nations Cup here at Race of Champions? Well, this should explain it to you. The Race of Champions is back, and it is back on the snow and ice and back in Sweden. This weekend, all eyes are on two events: the ROC Nations Cup on Saturday and the Race of Champions on Sunday. Before the lights go green, let's take a look at the Nations Cup. It was added to the Race of Champions in 1999 to decide the world's fastest nation. It was the first motorsport event to feature teams based on individual countries, and it has continued ever since. Now, historically, Team Germany have been the most successful, with a young Sebastian Vettel and Michael Schumacher. Now, though, it's Mick who is the young gun, partnering the four-time world champion. This year's ROC Nations Cup features 10 teams, each represented by 2 drivers. It's a straight knockout, with each driver racing both opponents. The first team to win 3 heats qualifies for the next round. Teams will progress through quarter and semi-finals to make it to the grand final showdown. In a 2-2 draw, the pair with the fastest total time will advance. Then the ROC Nations Cup will be decided by the best of 5 heats. First team that wins 3 will be crowned fastest nation of the world, and the 2 drivers with the targets on their back are the father-son duo, Petter and Oliver Solberg. Last year, the Norwegians won the title for their country for the very first time. So that is what ROC Nations Cup is all about, as the drivers this morning all posed for the photographs and announced themselves to the waiting fans who have turned out en masse here in Peter Havsbad. And already having so much fun. The Race of Champions is an event like no other. It's huge fun, a great family spirit and environment. The drivers using this in part as a way to get themselves sharp after the off-season over the winter, and in part just because it is huge fun. They all love it. They come back every year because it is such an enjoyable outing. And of course, for Sebastian Vettel, recently retired from Formula 1, he couldn't stay away. Couldn't keep him out of competition, couldn't keep him out of a race seat. He returns for Team Germany. But first and foremost, they will face Britain this morning, as Team Finland will face the winners of yesterday's ROC competition, Lucas Blakely and Jarno Opmeer, going up against Valtteri Bottas and Mika Häkkinen. Team Great Britain, Jamie Chadwick and David Coulthard up against Team Germany, Vettel and Schumacher. And already we have cars out on track and ready to do battle. And I welcome to the commentary box, as we get a little look at Lucas Blakely, who was the winner, the champion of ROC 2023 yesterday, and knocked out Sebastian Vettel last year. I welcome to the commentary box Timmy Hansen. Timmy, great to have you here. You've contested this event, you've contested this race. What is it like out there on the snow and ice?
It's a tricky track, and what these guys have gone through practice now, and they've driven all the cars. But what is so difficult about this event is that you get thrown into all these different cars. You get a couple laps per car, and it's very difficult to remember which braking point did I have with which car. And these guys right now, I'm sure, being good racing drivers, will try and memorize what they learned in free practice. but somehow it's also a gamble going into that first corner, how much speed you carry.
Valtteri Bottas in the orange car, Blakely in the yellow. Nations Cup about to get underway here in Sweden. Blakely was very, very fast, very committed yesterday out there on the snow and ice. It wasn't just in the sims that the guys competed. It was also out here on the snow and ice. Conditions look perfect, and we've got a green light, and we're away. Bottas on the inside, tight line. Blakely with the smoother start to the course. It is a much more flowing, much faster outside line. They will cross over in the middle, over the jump and under the bridge. And already, Timmy, it's a nice start from Valtteri. And Blakely is looking pretty tidy out there as well.
Yeah, it's hard to know early in this stage who is actually ahead, but I think Blakely has got a very nice start. He's actually looking a little bit more aggressive in his driving style than Valtteri on the inside. So yeah, it's all about, we also have to learn watching this, what driving style is fastest in each car. As we see them go around lap 1 now, we get an indication of what kind of gap we will get used to seeing.
In the Cupra Urban Rebel concept car, Blakely crosses the line 51.8, Valtteri 55.8, so about a 4-second gap between them. We'll wait to see what kind of split is going to be the norm with these Cupras. But Blakely, as you said, very aggressive out there. He took the victory last year against Sebastian Vettel. He's used to beating Formula One drivers out there on the snow and ice.
It was a bit wide there, but he managed to avoid the snowbank. I don't think we should underestimate Blakely because, as you said, he won against Schumacher last year. He's obviously a great talent, winning so much on esports, but probably never just got the chance to try his wings out in real cars. But let's see who crosses the line first here now.
I think it's going to be Blakely. He's done a wonderful, wonderful race. Valtteri takes the jump, Blakely wins, and wins with ease. So Blakely, once again, as he did in 2022, defeats his Formula One rival, the ROC champion, and look how much that means to him. He made a name for himself last year, defeating Sebastian Vettel, turns up this year, wins the ROC championship, beats Valtteri Bottas.
Yeah, brilliant drive. I think right from the start here, we saw him having a little bit more aggression than Valtteri. He was happy to put the car sideways like this. And look, you have to get those studs into the ice to get the grip, and you have to get the studs working with the ice to have the car going forward and where you want. This chicane looks very tricky, actually.
And they've put that in overnight. The chicane wasn't there for practice. The guys were just getting a lot of air over the bridge, but a chicane put in there now, and I think that's just for the Cupras actually, that we're going to have that chicane over the bridge.
Yeah, the jump is not an easy part to handle for a race car, and maybe they have some kind of issue with the car, we don't know, but yeah, that's the track we'll get used to now.
So the next lineup will be two-time Formula One world champion Mika Häkkinen up against two-time F1 esports champion Jarno Opmeer, who was the 2022 ROC champion. Appeared here last year.
I raced against him I think it was him when Race of Champions wasn't actually racing in real life. I won from the normal driver's side and I got the race. Was it Jarno? Maybe in the finals, but he was very fast in the sim.
And there is Mika Häkkinen, two-time Formula One world champion. I'm being told it was Baldwin you raced against.
Baldwin, was it? My bad, sorry. Excuse me, Baldwin.
There is Mika, a really popular guy in this Race of Champions community. Everyone loves to race him. They all kind of expect, and almost, it's kind of quite an honor if you get beaten by Mika Häkkinen. You don't mind losing if you lose to Mika Häkkinen.
Such a gentleman.
But it's 1-0 to the ROC boys, and off we go, and a very, very slow start from Mika Häkkinen. Jarno Opmeer has got the jump.
I wonder if he wasn't in drive or something, Mika, but now he's got going, and they look kind of even by now.
So it is Mika Häkkinen versus Jarno Opmeer. Mika in the orange car, Jarno Opmeer in the silver, getting very sideways. It's a very, very fast outside line. The inside line at the start is far tighter, far more complex.
This car is fantastic to drive on the ice. I mean, it handles so well. The electric drive just like allows you to rotate the car freely, and you have the power when you need it, but you don't have to have a turbo kicking in that gives you that unnecessary wheel spin in the wrong moments. I think once again we've seen Jarno now with a slightly more aggressive driving style than Mika, but yeah.
Oh, and Mika's into the wall.
It's a big gap now.
Yeah.
It's a big gap. It must have been a mistake.
So Mika's hit that wall as well as Jarno got very, very sideways through turn 1. The first corner, if you're on that inside line, the left-hander tightens. Jarno Opmeer has got a massive advantage here, and barring anything crazy in the final few corners, Jarno Opmeer is going to put ROC 2-0 up against the all Formula 1 Finnish lineup. This should be an easy win for Jarno Opmeer. Mika was slow off the line. He's already made contact with the snow wall as well. So
keep in mind though, he won't know exactly where Mika is, so he'll be pushing all the way through to the finish. But yeah, look at this. He got the car all the way, and a big win and a big lead for the esports team.
Absolutely huge. So it's 2-0 for the ROC team against the might of Mika Häkkinen and Valtteri Bottas. They've got it all to do. Now, folks, this is the best of 4. But if it ends up being 2-2, then it goes down to the fastest overall combined time over the 4 races. And with those 2 massive wins in the opening 2 rounds, even if the ROC guys lose these next 2 races, it's a huge gap that the Finns have got to make up over these next 2 runs.
Yeah, the Finns almost have to... Was that a jump start? Look at this. Yeah, Jarno went early. You see, he's gone already. And Mika actually went on green. So we'll wait and hear what the stewards have to say about that.
Well spotted. Well spotted. So it wasn't Mika making a slow start. It was Jarno making 2 faster starts.
Yeah, so we've got a race on our hands again now. Depending on the size of this penalty, it might change the win. Who got the win of this one?
We'll wait and see what the stewards decide. But yeah, I think Jarno was just watching for the lights to go out rather than waiting for the light to go green.
Such a typical mistake to do. We have seen so many rallycross drivers using this system of lights, and when you're a bit too keen and you're ready so early and you see that ready to race light go
What's
off,
the penalty, Ben?
it's so easy to just react out of instinct and go. But you have to stay cool and wait for the green.
So Mika 3.8 seconds back over the line, but it is confirmed now Jarno Opmeer did jump the start. There's usually a time penalty for that. Wait to see, though, exactly what is handed down and who is given that win. Will Jarno keep it, or will it go to Mika Häkkinen? Next up, though, it is Team Germany versus Team GB. Sebastian Vettel back in a race seat. Wonderful to see the 4-time Formula 1 world champion against David Coulthard. Seems strange now to say they're both former Formula 1 drivers. That just sounds absolutely crazy. They will be driving the Polaris Razor. Great fun cars. These really pitchy, difficult to drive, but a lot of fun.
Yeah, this car has a very different driving style compared to the other cars that they race here. So it's a kind of a special technique to get this to go around the track. It's super agile, super reactive on the steering wheel, and but the wheels are very exposed. So you touch one snowbank and you're in big trouble.
Waiting for the green lights, hoping not to jump the start, and away we go. It's green. David Coulthard on the right-hand side of your screen in the black Polaris. Sebastian Vettel in the red. That first corner on the outside line, it's really 2 left-hand turns separated by a short straight. On the inside line, it's one continuous left-hander, but that radius tightens as you reach kind of the second.
It's important to be tight out of that first corner, so all the way through this flowing section that you have a good rhythm, but they both look good.
I think DC had a little touch on the outer snowbank.
Remember that Seb came all the way to the final last year, so he'll be familiar with this car, with this track, and I think he's looking good already.
Good air over the jump from Sebastian Vettel. That chicane only in use for the Cupras, and over the line David Coulthard is quite a way back, 56.0. That's 7 seconds. We're used to seeing just a couple of seconds, the gap with the Polarises. So DC, he's dropped way back now. Way back. Seb out there, having fun, kicking up the snow, getting the rear end out. He loves this race of champions. He's won it 7 times, the Nations Cup for Team Germany, starting on that amazing run with Michael Schumacher. Now representing Team Germany with Michael's son, Mick. Great friends, the two of them.
He's not afraid to kick the car sideways and get on the gas and slide the car through the corner, but this is tighter than we thought.
So Vettel will take the win, but you're right, it is much tighter than we'd expected. So Sebastian Vettel takes first blood for Team Germany against Team GB. That's 1-0 for Team Germany. Great run by Vettel.
Yeah, great run by them both. But it seems like the inside line is a bit slower of that first lap. So we'll get used to seeing how the gaps are with the different cars now. But 8 tenths separating them, that means a good run by both.
It's wonderful seeing those little buggies.
The landing's so
fly
smooth
through the air.
Yeah, and these cars are made for jumping, aren't they? So the landing in this one is easy. The jump's easy flat, and the landing's so smooth. Oh, we touched the snowbank there. It's risky, but you gotta push. If you don't push, then you're out. So you gotta be willing to try and put the car on the edge, because if you relax, then especially in this car being so agile, you lose a lot of time very quickly.
Doesn't matter where you come from, everyone is a Sebastian Vettel fan at heart, I think, here. Round 2 then of Team GB versus Team Germany. Mick Schumacher, Formula 2 and Formula 3 champion, will face up alongside Jamie Chadwick, 3-time W Series champion. There is Mick. And Keep Fighting logo on his helmet, of course, for Michael. Jamie Chadwick absolutely loves this event. She raced on the snow and ice last year. She's back before she moves over to Indy NXT, formerly known as Indy Lights. Can't wait to see how she fares out there. But for now, it's all about the snow and ice.
She's very happy to be going into this season now and stepping into Indy Lights. A massive opportunity. Another run with these Polarises. Let's see how it goes.
So in the blue, it's Mick Schumacher. In the yellow, it's Jamie Chadwick. Green light, Chadwick on that tighter inside line. Schumacher will be able to get his foot down through the flowing top section of the track here on the Baltic Sea in northern Sweden. I was talking to Jamie yesterday. She said the crazy thing about racing champions is you go out there, you put in what you think is a great lap, and then she said she went and stood trackside as Mick Schumacher contacts the wall. She went trackside and she was watching the Solbergs or Christopherson, and says they're just doing things I can't even imagine is possible. And she's absolutely loving her time here. Mick Schumacher has looked incredibly committed in his practice runs yesterday, but Chadwick in the yellow.
I think Jamie got off to a little bit hesitant the first corner, and I think Mick's really nailed it so far, being very aggressive, and I haven't seen any foot wrong from him so far. 7-second
gap, pretty similar to what we saw between Coulthard and Vettel, and over the line between them, it was only, as you said, about 8 tenths of a second. So can Jamie pull this back as she takes the second half of the lap, right on board now with Mick Schumacher, getting the nose in and sliding around. Beautiful car control from Schumacher.
Yeah, it's a great run. I think he's still really nailing everything. It's slightly different being on the inside than on the outside, but he's brave. He dares to work with the pitch of the car, and he looks to be ahead, right?
Yeah. He is, but it's very tight closing couple of corners. Chadwick over the bump. It'll be 2-0 to Germany. Schumacher defeats Chadwick, and Team Germany go 2-0 up. So 3.2 seconds in the end, the gap between Schumacher and Chadwick. A great run from Mick Schumacher. did have one contact with the snowbank, but other than that, a pretty perfect run.
Yeah, and you gotta be close to them. Like, and in this car, you gotta. Yeah, there he really leans on it, doesn't he? But as I said before, it's so costly being under the limit. Like, you really have to go for it, and sometimes it costs you. But if you get it right, like this was a great run, and he looks super fast.
Fast, committed. Beautiful lines from Mick Schumacher sliding around. You see there's a concrete barrier now on the start-finish straight. David Coulthard, he made contact with that in the practice session. I think it was in the supercar light, and the the rear bumper was hanging off for the second half of his run. So it's Race of Champions Nations Cup here in Pieter Havsbad in Sweden. Will Buxton, Timmy Hansen with you for all of the running. And so far after the first runs, the surprise, I think, is that Team ROC is 2-0 up against Team Finland. But Germany, the all-conquering German team, 8 ROC Nations Cup victories for them are 2-0 up against Team GB.
Yeah, they're off to a good start, and so is the ROC team. The ROC team also has a big gap in time.
Sebastian, it's 2-0 to Germany. Thumbs up there for Mick. Let's follow you around. So 2-0 to Germany. Just congratulating Mick there. How was that out there in the Polaris?
Slippery. So the track, I think, is getting a bit challenging, but yeah, it's also the first run, so it's good to start with a win, and now hopefully we can build on that.
And it was close between you and DC, so was it a nice old rivalry between you?
Yeah, I mean, it was nice, but I think we both had some mistakes. Like I said, it's the first run of the day, so I think it will only get better, and not much room for mistakes later on.
Thanks, sir.
This is what's brilliant about the Race of Champions. They've done some practice runs, Timmy, but they were yesterday. The conditions very different today than they were yesterday. Some water laid down on the track overnight so that it would freeze, ice up, and then the lines being cut in today by the drivers out on track. None of them have had any practice today, with the exception of Sebastian Loeb, who helicoptered in this morning, did no practice yesterday. He's had only 2 laps on this track. That's it. That's his entire practice. They've all been out there yesterday, but conditions very different today to what they practiced.
I wouldn't be surprised if he still goes and does great.
I mean, it's Seb Loeb, isn't
exactly.
it? You can't look past him.
It's interesting to hear them, but I don't think any driver at this point would be very happy with the lap, because they're just about getting into the rhythm and flow. So these practice laps, you've more tried to get used to the car that you're in and try and understand like the machine, and then gradually you're learning the track. But none of them have really had this time to get settled in and get precise with everything. So it will take a few runs, and the ones who progresses will all have that more practice. So I think we'll see faster times as the day goes on, depending on the track though, because it's quite warm here. So it's easy that we get a lot of soft snow on the outside.
As Schumacher readies himself for his next contest. So it is the second matchups now in our first round contests. ROC Champions versus Team Finland. So far, it was a pretty great start for the ROC guys.
Finland really have to make something special now. They both. Oh no, it's 1-1. Yeah, after the penalty, it's a close race.
Oh, and Otmir almost jumped the start again. Now it's green, and now he goes. So Otmir, I think, had to be a little bit hesitant in the end, because he very nearly jumped the start again. 1-1. So the penalty has been applied. Valtteri Bottas in the blue and yellow car. It's Otmir in black and orange. The gap, combined time, 1-1, half a second after the penalty was applied. Blakely having taken first blood against Valtteri Bottas. Bottas needs this win to restore honor.
He's driving more aggressive now, but I think he went too tight into that corner. You see when he pitched it sideways and then the nose got tucked in. Yeah.
And now
another mistake.
Clatters the snowbank. Valtteri Bottas not having a great morning here in Sweden. 2 mistakes on that opening lap for Bottas. The gap between the two, what is the expected gap between them? 54 plays 49, so 5 seconds the difference between them. But Valtteri's had 2 big knocks. Opmeer was very, very rapid in that race against Mika Häkkinen, but lost the win because of the jump start. I have to see how the stewards actually judge whether he jumped or not, whether he moved past the start line with that little bunny hop just before the lights went out.
We'll see the replays later, but now you see that Valtteri is getting more into the rhythm, getting that comfortable gap to the snowbanks inside, and still having that attitude and pitch of the car, which is necessary to drive this car fast.
Very tight end to the lap, though, when you're back on that outside line. Flicks left, flicks right. It's going to be Bottas, is it? Just from Opmeer. So Valtteri making up for those couple of mistakes with a blistering second half of the lap. A great drive from Valtteri Bottas to restore order and restore honour to Team Finland, having lost his first run to Lucas Blakely. It's 2-1. The gap between the teams under a second, with 1 race left to go, and it will be Mika Häkkinen versus Blakely, who each won their opening race.
Yeah, this was a brilliant race from Valtteri, and nothing to lose on that second lap, and he really nailed it and got the win. So that's just what Finland needed, getting ahead. But with a 1 second gap, I think it's all to play for in this last race.
Huge pressure then on the shoulders of Lucas Blakely.
He just pitched it in slightly too early. You've got to be early in these cars. It's ice. Like you gotta, you know, do all the inputs very early. You got to let the car slide, but that it's hard to be precise and sideways at the same time. Mistakes easily happen, but you see in second lap then really paid off, and the super lap time on that second lap.
So it all comes down to this. If it ends 2-2, it will be down to time. This, the car that they're running, the supercar lights. Lovely little car, 320 brake horsepower, just over 1,000 kilos in weight. Fun car to drive.
It is, and being able to compare the RX2E with the old RX2 with the normal engine, it's just, when you step between the cars, it's so hard to drive the RX2 because you always got to be shifting, you always got to go down in gear to have the engine in momentum. This engine really needs a lot of revs to have the power. So you got to pitch it sideways, go down on gear and get on power to try and keep the momentum of the engine going all the time. It's just harder than it is with the electric.
So this is it. The 4th and final race. We wait for the green light. Blakely needs to win by over 0.7 of a second.
Good start by Blakely, I think.
Nice off the line from him. So it's Blakely in the black and blue. Mika Häkkinen there for Team Finland. On the outside line at the moment, I think Blakely had a little touch into the snow wall. He's very committed, very fast, Blakely.
Mika going for a tighter driving style, going with a bit of understeer mid-corner. We've seen, it's nice to ride on board here. You see, you have to really work with the pendulum of the car in that section that we just went through. It's easier to be consistent when you drive like this, that Mika is doing, and that's also key. You can't afford to make any mistake.
But as you said, you've got to be aggressive. Over the line, the gap last time was around 5 seconds and ended almost in a dead heat. The gap is less than 2. Blakely is coming in hot.
Yeah, Blakely with another great run now.
Watching him out on track practice, the commitment in whatever car he was driving was sensational. Standing trackside with a number of the drivers, they were looking at him and saying he has improved massively, even from last year where he defeated Sebastian Vettel. The confidence that he's been able to bring to Racing Champions this year on the snow and the ice. He's super competitive and rapid on the sim. We know that, we've seen that. He is the ROC champion 2023, but out on the snow and ice, he's just so committed.
He's equally talented in real life here. Massive win for him.
Huge! And that should mean that the ROC team goes through, because he's defeated Mika Häkkinen by a mile, by an absolute mile.
Yeah, I think Mika tried to play it safe, make sure he got around without mistakes, but yeah, the time wasn't there.
He's turned an almost 8/10 deficit into a nearly 7-second victory. That was a phenomenal drive from Lucas Blakely. Phenomenal.
He's showing that you can take the skills that you have in esports, and you can be a very talented driver, and he's showing that he can take this and turn it into real life and go fast with real cars as well. It's very impressive.
Desperately impressive. What a brilliant run. So Team Finland is out of the Nations Cup.
Shocker.
Big shock. Our first shock of the day.
But we might see the ROC team being a strong challenger in the coming rounds as well.
Yeah, absolutely. If they put in those kind of performances again,
yeah,
you can't look past them. And look, absolutely buzzing. Blakely, absolutely buzzing.
Fantastic to see.
A brilliant run. A brilliant final run. And Valtteri Bottas crosses his arms, will not be happy. But there we go. There we go. Finland are out. The first big shock of the day. Next up, it's Team GB versus Team Germany. It will be David Coulthard up against Mick Schumacher.
Here's the comparison with the electric RX2 car and the petrol one that we saw just before. This one has a bit more power, round about the same weight, and faster 0 to 100 time. But I think the big difference in these two cars is that the ease of driving the electric car and how much closer you can be to the limit, because you never get anything wrong with the gears or the momentum of the engine or anything like that. So from a driver's point of view, it's much nicer you feel closer to, at least for me, my point of view, you feel closer to your own limit when you drive this car. It was quite fascinating to be able to compare the same chassis with two different drivetrains on the same day on the same track.
Yeah, must be. So do you feel you can take more risk because you're, as you say, you're more in tune, you're more at one?
It's more like you had to risk it with the petrol engine one, because it was less precise and you could go faster with more precision, so it wasn't feeling as risky, just better. You could focus on the rotation, focus on your apex, focus on getting everything perfect without worrying about...
Oh, sure.
Look at that, fantastic scenes.
Great stuff.
Makes you smile, doesn't it?
Yeah, very much so. Right, on the right-hand side of your screen, Mick Schumacher in the black, David Coulthard in the blue, and away we go. Green light, Schumacher with that inside line, Coulthard on the outside. It's 2-0 to Germany, so if Schumacher can take this victory, it will be Team Germany through to the next round in the Race of Champions Nations Cup.
He got the rear tucked up in a little bit of snow, pitched the front out, and he's in the snowbank. That's cost him a lot of time.
It's almost like bobsleigh for David Coulthard out there, and he's hit the wall again. Oh, he's gone over onto the wrong side of the track.
I wonder if there's a problem with the car. Does he have a puncture since hitting the snowbank before?
He may have. He may have. He's all over the place, David Coulthard, at the moment.
And he's on the wrong side of the track, isn't he? Or has he gone back to the right side?
No, I think he's just about made it back. And even with those huge impacts, he should be ahead by a long way. The gap, the cut that we see between the two of them.
We didn't think that track limits would be an issue for the stewards here, but it seems like they have to bring that up.
Steely determination from Mick Schumacher. Oh, lovely car control. Absolutely beautiful.
Look at all this snow that they're throwing to the outside. That will build up as the day goes on, and that will stay as like a new snowbank right outside the line. So a little bit wide there for Mick, but I think that's another brilliant run for him. He looks so good today, and two good runs. I think he will feel great right now.
That's it. Schumacher takes his second win. It's a third for Germany. They go through 3-0 over Team GB. Nothing that Jamie Chadwick can do now. But she will relish the opportunity to face up against Sebastian Vettel, who she will face in the opening round of the Race of Champions tomorrow. So she wants a little bit of track time with Sebastian Vettel to figure out how she can go about defeating the 4-time Formula One world champion on the snow and ice.
Yeah, this is a bit psychological game now. And also they will both use this run as practice because, as we spoke about before, you don't get much run time here, and you value every lap that you get. So I'm sure they will be pushing and trying to. There we go. That's why it looked weird when we went on board with him here, seeing him go right across that snowbank. So there was no puncture. He meant to do that. I actually did the same last year.
Yeah.
In the first round in the Race of Champions, the single one against Kristoffersson in this corner right here.
Of course.
I touched the rear with the snowbank with the rear, and that pitched a car over the snowbank, and I also went right back over.
And the snowbanks were much bigger last year.
They were. I would say mine was more impressive.
You got more airtime out of it. Right, so it's Chadwick versus Vettel. This is just for pride, then, between the two of them. Team Germany through 3-0.
And also to enjoy.
Yeah.
It's a great day of racing, isn't it? Look at the sun. Sun is shining. It's a beautiful racetrack. The spectators all there. So many spectators here watching.
It's a beautiful day and a beautiful part of the world. I think we've all fallen a little bit in love with Sweden. It's my first time here. I absolutely love it. It's just the most beautiful place. And of course...
I couldn't have said it better myself.
And the thrill and the excitement of racing action on the snow and ice. Race of Champions, Nations Cup, Team GB versus Team Germany. It's 3-0 to Germany at the moment, but now Chadwick on the outside line in the orange car, Vettel on the inside line in silver. These two will face up against one another in the Race of Champions, Champion of Champions race tomorrow. And Chadwick keeping it quite nice and tidy. She said it's not been so difficult, actually, the changeover from driving a car on her fingertips, really, as she's used to in a single-seater, to getting into a car and having to flick it around. She's really enjoying
she's done a couple of races in Extreme E, and I think being impressive there. It's not many drivers who can do both. Yeah. There's not many drivers who can, go from that precision to that feeling. Everyone needs to do it here today, and Jamie, I think, proved already in Extreme E that she's able to switch between the disciplines.
So the gap is around, so we're looking for around 5 seconds. It is just over 5 seconds, the gap. So Vettel with a little bit of work to do on the second half of his run. Jamie Chadwick's doing a beautiful job out there right now.
Yeah. Just trying to look for exactly the lines they're choosing and seeing how it might get more important to stay clean. We've been speaking about this aggression, and that works as long as you don't get your rear end caught in this snow dust on the outside, because as we saw for David just now, it can get your car rotate the wrong way. So as the race goes by, it might be easier to make mistakes.
This is going to be tight, I think, through the final corner for Chadwick, and it should actually be an easy win for her in the end. Wonderful drive from Jamie Chadwick, and if she drives like that tomorrow, she'll knock Vettel out.
She did look a little bit cleaner and closer to the apexes. Seb was a bit more rotating the car. I think they both look good, but in the end, Jamie came out first. Brilliant run.
I was with Jamie when they made the draw for Race of Champions. I said, do you want to know who you've got? And when I told her it was Sebastian Vettel, she was delighted. She said, yes, I've got an opportunity to try and knock Seb out. She's got the measure of him today. How will she fare against him tomorrow? Team GB will go no further in the Nations Cup. Team Germany winning this one 3-1, but that final victory for Jamie Chadwick will give her a lot of confidence going into tomorrow for her matchup against Sebastian Vettel. She's beaten him today.
She will sleep well tonight. She will be happy with this.
Brilliant run. Brilliant run.
And Seb gets to continue racing.
Yes, he's going to have a few more races to get the measure of the cars and the track here. As you say, without any practice, it's all experience, it's all track time. Yeah. Something that Jamie and DC won't get anymore. Neither will Mika Häkkinen and Valtteri Bottas. Team Finland and Team GB are knocked out at the first hurdle then here at Race of Champions Nations Cup. Germany advance and the ROC finalists advance. So, it'll be Norway versus France, Sweden versus Team Nordic, Team USA versus the All-Stars, and ROC versus Germany in the quarterfinals.
They're all tough races, aren't they?
Yeah, there's no easy matchup there. Not one.
Yeah. It is a race of champions after all, for a reason.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So demonstration runs happening at the moment, just on the changeover. And as the Porsche kicks around out there, we're going to head down to Neil Cole.
I'm with Oliver, who's going to tell us a little bit more about what we're seeing on track right now. It looks great, sounds great. Tell us what we're looking at.
Well, we're quite happy to be here at the Race of Champions in the north of Sweden, because what we do at the moment is we develop the customer racing of the future, and we do that on an electric foundation. What we've done is we've taken a 911 GT3 Cup as a blueprint and developed an electric car as in parallel. And what came out is that prototype that we see in the background is the GT4 E-Performance, and that car honestly is fantastic because it has the, as I said, same performance as a cup car for like 25-30 minutes, so for a regular one-make series race. But on the other hand, we can also bring it to places like here where we take it out for fun, and obviously what else can you wish for, I guess.
So it's a concept. Give us a few specs about it. What's the kilowatts? It's about to run us over, by the way.
Well, as I said, the idea is to develop a car that can run in a one-make series with around 500 brake horsepower for the time of 25-30 minutes. But the beauty of it is if you reduce the driving time, if you just have a driving time of around 10 minutes, you can increase the power output to even more than 1,000 horsepower. And obviously that makes it even more fun then, I guess.
Thank you very much for bringing it, and we enjoy watching it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Fascinating stuff, Neil. Thank you so much, mate. This event this year, Race of Champions, of course, electric vehicles out there, but 100% fossil-free biofuel used in all of the others.
It is interesting to see them grading the track now.
So it's Race of Champions Nations Cup, and as we can see out there, Timmy, they're grading the track.
Yeah, the drivers will keep a close eye on this, trying to see how big these snowbanks are. I know the drivers are back there and they're watching every race, so now the track gets nice and fresh again, and it's easier to play with whatever line you want to choose yourself, and don't have to just stick to the inside and avoid that snow.
So, as we've seen on Friday morning, 4 of the best sim racers in the world came together to fight for 2 spots in the Nations Cup to represent Team ROC. And after thousands of laps set in a hot lap competition, 3 of the drivers that qualified actually ended up being the same as last year. Michael Romanidis joined F1 Esports World Champions Jarno Opmeer and Lucas Blakely with local Swede Martin Palm. Races on the sim and a real-world lap were adjudicated by professional drivers Felix Rosenquist, Oliver Solberg and Terry Grant. And after 12 races, Opmeer and Blakely came out on top, with this year's F1 Esports champion taking victory over last year's in the final. It was a great day of racing, both on the snow and ice.
No, that's very, very good 2 laps, and I'm giving him a 4 as well.
Maximum score.
So the same finalists as last year, but a different result, with Blakely being crowned champion and Opmeer second. They've been racing beautifully today and have pitched Team Finland out of the Nations Cup. We move on now, though, for the first quarterfinals. And first up, I think it's going to be Petter Solberg versus Sebastian Loeb. And Sebastian Loeb, as we were saying, arrived just 10 minutes, I think 10 minutes to 11 this morning. He landed in a helicopter, had a couple of laps of practice, but that's it. You wouldn't look past him, though.
No, he's arriving in typical Seb Loeb fashion, very late, and getting a couple laps practice in, so he's got the least driving out of everyone. But I think this is an interesting first match here. We've seen Solberg versus Loeb many times.
David, great to see you back at Race of Champions again. Very spectacular out there in the electric rallycross car. Talk us through what happened.
Well, I got it completely wrong, but I didn't practice with the conditions like they were now. So it's quite, let's say, loose snow, and very incredible actually how you can feel the difference in the grip when it's ice versus the snow on top. So I was in trouble from the first corner, went on the other side of the track, and then I felt so sorry for the car because you have to get back onto your side by going through the snowbank. So I was like an octopus, hands and arms going everywhere. A lot of fun, but just not very quick.
And the appeal of this, of course, it's a shame you won't progress any further in the ROC Nations Cup, but gives you a chance to watch today and then Race of Champions tomorrow, which you have won in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. Jamie did a great job there against Sebastian, so she got one win at least for Team GB. And we watch the others now, see who's going to win this Nations Cup. There's some great names out there and people with a lot of experience in snow and ice, so I think it's definitely going to be a good one.
And talk a little bit more about the changing conditions, because it's the whole thing about Race of Champions is adapting to the cars, but on the snow and ice for the second year, it just evolves all the time.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. When we're on the tarmac stadiums, it's how well you can go from car to car because the surface is consistent. Here, you're dealing with a different car and a different track surface, and of course, with the studs on the tyres, you get like train tracks effectively in the snow and ice, so you can feel the car going through them. So a lot of challenges, but that's part of Race of Champions.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Great to hear from David Coulthard there.
Driving like an octopus. I've never heard that before.
That's a great line. I really like that. There is DC driving like an octopus, bounding over the snow wall and having to bounce straight back over it again.
No hesitation.
No, absolutely not. Not, as he was saying, a lot of fun, but not the fastest line around this track. One thing we know you guys loved last year with the Race of Champions here on Snow and Ice was the soundtrack being blasted out by the DJ. There is a playlist that's been made by the Race of Champions folks over on Spotify. So you can go and download that and listen to that. This then, a replay of the helicopter bringing in Sebastian Loeb just about an hour and 10 minutes before we came on air at midday local time here in Sweden. Seb arrived by helicopter. There he is, already in his race suit.
Yeah, he wouldn't miss this race for anything.
No, I think he lives in his race suit, doesn't he?
Yeah, I've never seen him without it.
Sleeps in it. And there he is, out there on track. He jumped straight into a Polaris.
With Terry Grant on his side.
Exactly. And here he is then, lining up, a man we know so well. He's been here 9 times before. He is a 9 times World Rally Champion. He has won this event individually 4 times. He is one of the toughest competitors to go up against.
He's just great in whatever he does, whenever he's been racing almost all the categories now. And so is Petter. He's got fantastic car control, 2 times World Rallycross champion and 2003 World Rally Champion. He's a legend now in Race of Champions, and of course the defending Nations Cup winner from last year.
Absolutely. So it's defending champion Petter Solberg, Team Norway, up against Sebastian Loeb, who knows this competition so well. 2 legendary rally drivers facing up against each other here on the snow and ice in Sweden. Green light. Good getaway from Petter, good getaway from Loeb. who has had just a couple of laps this morning practice out there on the snow and ice. What a joy to get these two lining up against one another. You only get that in the race of champions.
There will be so much prestige in this race now. I know them both, and they both really want to win against each other. So they will be absolutely flat out. They've got a beautiful track now, just without those snowbanks, and a fantastic car. And they've both done brilliant laps so far. It'll be interesting to see the gap as they come across the line.
Wouldn't expect anything else from these two. Big jump from Loeb, who now has the tighter inside line for the second half of his lap. 4.6 is the gap between these two, so it's going to be very tight, very, very tight. They're incredibly equal. It all comes down to the second half. The two tracks, very, very different in nature. The inside line, far tighter, far more complex. The outer line, you can really get your foot down, get a lot more speed going through it, much more rhythm and flow on the outside.
Then you have to slow right down from the outside line to go under the bridge here, and Petter has a fast chicane as he goes over the jump here, and he will be looking for Seb on his right side, but Petter Solberg has done enough.
Great run from Petter Solberg. The defending champions, Team Norway, go one up against Team France.
He would be happy with that.
Yeah. Great run. So it has started brilliantly for the defending champions. Wonderful run from Petter Solberg. And Sebastian Loeb, well, he's not going to like tasting defeat, but he'll have a chance to run again against Petter's son, Oliver.
And the gap wasn't massive, so you know, time-wise there was no mistake or anything, so they will be needing to push flat out in all the coming 3 races here to decide the winner. But of course, advantage Norway.
1-0. How frustrating is it if you're on that outside line to start? Because the end of the lap is that really slow, kind of frustrating kink left, right, back onto the straight. Whereas if you start on the inside, you have that long run over the jump.
Yeah, you just want to get on the gas and get on the drive, but also, you know, hold yourself back and actually force yourself to lift through this little kink right, and especially if you see it's close, when you go out to the hairpin and you see the other one coming, well, you want nothing else but to go on the gas, but the worst thing is to make a mistake in the last corner.
Yeah.
Go in the wall there. The wall gets very close. The wall kind of sucks you in as you go out of the last corner on the outside line before the finish, and easy to get caught out.
Adrian Tombe lines up against Oliver Solberg, who will be hoping to taste the champagne today once again. He and his dad, reigning Race of Champions, Nations Cup champions.
They're the perfect team, aren't they? You know, father and son sharing everything together, talking about those little tricks and details, know each other inside out.
And the fascinating part of it is, of course, they're teammates today for Team Norway. Tomorrow, they go head-to-head in the Race of Champions, and Oliver will be representing Sweden because his mother is Swedish. So he's Norwegian today, he's Swedish tomorrow. But right now, it's all about Team Norway versus Team France. Tombe versus Oliver Solberg. And Oliver is so committed out there in the Cupra. He's been so impressive to watch trackside.
Look at this rhythm now, how he's playing with the car through these fast S's. Super committed, super precise.
It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful control. Wonderful to watch Solberg then. And Tombe knows he's got his work cut out for him.
Remember, now we got that chicane, don't we, on the bridge up?
Yes.
So we'll see much closer.
Oh, and he's lost it. He's spun it around.
Tombe made a mistake, a crucial error.
And that's with that chicane up the top. Just got it wrong.
I wonder if Oliver saw it, then he would be backing up the pace now. Doesn't look like it.
There is a maximum time that you can be defeated by at Race of Champions, which is 10 seconds. So it doesn't matter where Tombe finishes now, the gap will be clocked in at 10 seconds. But Solberg, I don't think he's going to lift. He just wants to keep his foot down and get the practice in with this car and in these conditions.
Yeah, this car looks really well suited to this track and to this to everything. I wonder how similar to the ROC 2E this one is, but I think a very impressive run from Oliver. Of course, the mistake from Adrian there before, but brilliant driving. I love to see Oliver these laps. Very good.
So it's 2-0 for Team Norway. Disappointing for Adrian Tombe. He was having a good sort of start of the lap, but maybe that chicane just surprised him coming up the hill, because they haven't practiced with it all the way through.
Will be interesting to see the replay now and see what happened. He must have come out of the chicane. I wonder if he came too fast in and got wide on the exit or something like that, but we'll find out. Very good start from Oliver. It's key not to have wheel spin with the studs. You have to have a start without wheel spin.
So here's the replay then.
Yeah.
Oh, clocked the first one. Hit the wall at the summit.
That's an annoying mistake, actually. He didn't do anything wrong. Okay, he came in a little bit fast, but he had it all under control going out. But he just got sucked into the barrier at the exit, just being slightly greedy, wanting to get the exit onto the straight, straighten the car out too soon, and hit that kink on the barrier on the right. And yeah, he spun in the air, and that was crucial or devastating.
Oh, I'm gutted with that. Gutted. My apologies. They have practiced with this for the Cupras this weekend. They have practiced with the chicane on the bridge. But yeah, just a little greedy, taking a little too much.
And, 5 centimeters or 10 different would have made it.
So big hugs, father and son. They go 2-0 up, the defending champions against Team France.
Interesting to hear. They were saying it's very slippery. So the more snow that gets on top of the ice, the less the studs will actually touch the ice, and the slipperier it gets. Also, the studs kind of make these lines in the ice, so that will make the ice kind of worn out. Tom Christensen here, another ROC legend.
Yeah, he's been here 16 times. This is his 17th Race of Champions appearance. He is a legend, not just of the Race of Champions, but of motorsport in general. One of the greatest to ever set foot in a race car. Up against Johan Kristoffersen, who again needs no introduction. 5 times World Rallycross champion, an absolute legend. Someone you know well.
I know well since way back, and also we still race against each other wherever we go almost. Today I don't get the chance to try and beat him, but I have to comment on him. So good luck to both.
Team Nordic against Team Sweden. Tom Christensen is lining up with Felix Rosenqvist. Matthias Ekström lining up with Kristoffersen. We have the green light and we are go for Nordic versus Sweden. Christensen in the blue car, Kristoffersen in the black.
Bit of understeer mid-corner 2 times now for Tom in the opening few corners. And very sideways style for Johan around the middle, gets a lot of rotation on the car. And early on the throttle.
Beautiful. It really is a joy to watch these guys at work. Stunning car control. So through the final flick left and right.
This is where we're used to seeing a big gap, but
it's not huge.
So advantage Johan.
By quite a margin as well. Good couple of seconds at the moment.
Yeah, the only thing that can go wrong now is if he makes a mistake, but he will be aware that he is ahead of Tom because he sees him now on his left side. So yeah, I think this is more or less cruising back home and securing this win.
There we get the driver's eye view from Kristoffersen. Again, that controls. Just a joyous thing to see.
He will be so relaxed seeing Tom on the inside there, knowing that he has the advantage and nothing can stop him from taking this jump and winning the race.
And he's punching the air before he's even crossed the line. An easy win in the end for Johan Kristoffersson.
Massive win.
Absolutely huge. So it's 1-0 for Team Sweden on home soil. That will make the fans very happy. They're applauding out in the grandstands. An easy win.
Of course, Johan popular here in Sweden, and he's got the fans on his side. Of course, representing Team Sweden, so there's also extra pressure. But this was a good showing in his first run of today.
Beautiful control. Beautiful control. Was Christensen just a little too tentative on that first half of the lap?
I think so. It looked like he didn't really commit on the entries to the corner to get the rotation, and then it's so easy to pick up understeer in the middle, and then if you have understeer, you can't get on the gas, and you have no speed coming into the next corner, and you kind of lose the flow, and you have to kind of restart your rhythm to get into the right attitude of the car.
It's a beautiful drive.
And as I was saying before, with the studs, they really have to work through the ice. So they have to grab the ice and take it. But also that we were just touching on before, that the more times the ice makes these lines in the ice, the less grip there will be because the studs can't touch it anymore. Another good friend of mine, Felix Rosenqvist, representing Team Sweden. I know for a fact that he's done a lot of ice driving because we've done it together when we were kids a long time ago. Now, of course, an IndyCar driver, and he's representing Team Nordic, isn't he?
He is.
Matthias is from Team Sweden.
Yeah.
An all-Swedish race.
Swede versus Swede, but it's Nordic versus Sweden. And back in the Cupras, which means the chicane is back on the bridge. This will be a fun one between these two. Felix was saying that the ice driving that he did when he was young was thanks to his mum, who put him out on the ice, on the lake for the first time. She just said, take the family car onto the lake, go and have some fun.
I know his mum well too. We used to race together, me and Felix, back in the days. Hello if you're watching.
So in the Cupras, it's Rosenqvist against Ekstrom. Rosenqvist in the yellow and green. Both, of course, with the Swedish flag, but Rosenqvist representing Team Nordic, who are a good 8 seconds back now, one win down. All the cars here either electric or using biofuel as Race of Champions moves towards greater sustainability. Under the tunnel and back through. Let's see what the gap is between these guys in the Cupras. That's nice. Nice control through there.
Very equal, but we're not very familiar with the gap that we should be seeing being this chicane now.
Yeah. Makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I saw Felix being slightly wide in turn 2, but you know, 2 good laps so far, and hard to tell the difference who's actually ahead.
How tough is it when you see the other guy alongside you like that?
Well, when you see that you're ahead, it's very relaxing, and when you're behind, very stressful. Oh, tap on the snowbank there with the rear.
That's going to cost some time.
A little bit. I just rotated the car, gave an understeer, and he had to back out of the throttle. Lost a little bit of exit speed.
But it should ultimately be another win for Team Sweden.
Yeah.
And by quite a margin.
Matthias putting in a solid run. Very, very good. Just come back from the Dakar Rally, of course, so having done a lot of kilometers so far this year.
So 2-0. And it's all going the way of the home heroes, Team Sweden. Are 2-0 up against Team Nordic.
Yeah, 13-second gap, so
it's big.
Team Nordic has to hope for some kind of issue to get back in the game. But 2 impressive runs from my fellow countrymen so far, which is what you expect in some way, but it's easier said than done. You know, it's driving with studs and rally cars and jumping from one car to the other. it is a tough challenge and a unique challenge to Race of Champions.
13 seconds ahead then at the moment, Team Sweden over Team Nordic. So even if Nordic managed to pull back the 2 wins in the next 2 races, they're going to have to do it by quite a considerable margin.
It's almost like...
So it's Race of Champions, Nations Cup. Will Buxton, Timmy Hansen with you, and down in the pits is Neil Cole.
Johan, great work so far, but you know, what can we expect? You in a rallycross car in the snow and ice at home in Sweden, but you still enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did, of course. But you know, at the same time, you cannot do any mistakes, and it's quite rutted and some deep snow out there in some places. When they degrade the track now, you don't see the ruts, so they are like hidden in the snow. So sometimes you can get some surprises here and there, but it's all about to be. You will never, or at least I have never felt that I get that perfect run here, because it's always, you know, small things here and there. But it's all about when you jump in between the different cars to switch your mind so quickly and try to make the best out of it, you know, and see who made the best lap.
And it's a good team up between you and with you and Matthias, because of course you know each other very well, teammates before.
Yes, but we have never worked together before, so we always used to tell the opposite when someone asks, and today probably I will have to tell the proper truth. No, just jokes, but yeah, it's a very good team, and I enjoy to work with Matthias, and it's the first time ever I do that, so yeah, we'll try to enjoy today, and hopefully we can do more than just one run.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, they are going to be tough to beat.
Yeah.
Very tough to beat.
But unusual team pairing, as he was saying.
Yeah.
I've stood next to them so many times, both, as he said, kind of wanting to play mind games with the other and play tricks before the start of a rallycross race or whatever. But now they're actually teammates and having to try and help each other to have a good day today. Because if you do well today, you get a lot of driving, you will be very prepared for the race tomorrow. So the ones who do well today will have kind of the upper hand going into the individual Race of Champions tomorrow.
It's strange, isn't it, that it's almost a practice session as well as a race today.
Yeah. And you just gotta have to make the best what you can for the moment. Johan mentioned that too, and I agree a lot that it's very hard to do the perfect lap around here. That you don't really have enough practice.
Oh, and you're changing cars. So how difficult is it? You know, you've got the track that's constantly evolving, and you're having to jump from one car to another. As we were saying, you know, the jump between going from the the biofuel car into the electric car, completely different driving styles.
And almost the hardest is when they are almost similar, but not the same, because it's so little different. So then you have to make little changes.
Getting ready to get back underway here on the snow and ice then, and it is the second matchups between Team France and Team Norway. It will be Tombe versus Petter Solberg and Sebastian Loeb against Oliver Solberg. Tombe, who had that little spin, which saw him out of the competition really against Oliver Solberg. Oliver Solberg was having a beautiful race anyway. But the chicane has now gone, which I'm sure Tombe will be glad to see the back of that chicane on the top of the jump. But running up against Petter Solberg, always going to be very, very tough. Tombe will be keen to get back to winning ways. It's 2-0 for Team Norway after the first runs. It's Solberg on the outside in the silver car. It's Tombe in the orange car. And Tombe throwing it around. Quite a nice start to the lap for Tombe.
Yeah, nothing to lose for Team France now. They just have to go all in and win what they can. But however much you want to go fast, it's not easy to beat Petter here. But good run so far, as you said.
Yeah, lovely start. It's getting very bumpy underneath the bridge as they come in. It's kind of a little divot underneath. But Solberg already down into turn one on the inside line. The gap between them, we're looking for about 5 seconds. It's a lot more than that, though. 6.5, so Tombé's got to try and make up about 1.5 seconds, if not more, on Petter Solberg in this lap.
Yeah, looking at Petter now, he just needs to keep it neat and tidy, and then he will secure Norway their progression into the next round.
Once again, beautiful control from Petter Solberg, sliding it through that long left-hander. Just the last remaining corners, the cut back right under the tunnel. Then immediately flicking it into the left. Gently on the throttle through the right. Don't be too greedy, don't hit the wall. Solberg gets it all done. It's a wonderful run from Petter Solberg. Norway will advance. 3 wins from 3 races. And Tombé, in the end, actually had a really nice run on that second half of the lap, but it was all, I think, undone in that opening gambit for him. But a nice run to the end for Adrian Tombé. Nothing, though, that he could do about Petter Solberg.
Was just too good of a run for Petter. He did what he needed to do. He did it very well, and an impressive way to secure the way into the next round.
So the reigning champions go through. There'll be one more race.
Look how bumpy it's getting. These like train tracks that I don't know who mentioned it before. It's gonna keep going that way as the day goes on.
Do you want to stay in those grooves, or do you want to try and get out of it?
Yeah, if you lean on them in the right way, you can actually gain some grip, but it's a difficult, tricky driving style to run with the ruts. At the moment, I don't think they're big enough to really use. They will more be upsetting and disturbing the car a little bit around the apexes. So that will be something that they have to manage. And it's been a while now since they did any track preparation, so we see this snow building up again. The grip will have gone down, and anytime you lose the line, you're in the deep snow. So a mistake now is very costly.
And a mistake, you know, we're not talking about something big. We're talking an inch, 2 inches offline, and you're suddenly in the snow, in the broken up pits.
Even the worst is when you touch it with the rear, and it kind of grabs the rear and rotates the car back to an understeer. That feels horrible in the car. But now it's green for go, and it's Oliver Solberg versus Sebastian Loeb.
This will be a great matchup. Oliver has been so committed out there, so rapid all the way through this weekend. Had a brilliant first run, even with Tombé's spin. Solberg was just majestic and such fun to watch, but he's going up against one of the all-time greats in Sebastian Loeb.
Yeah, they will be pushing hard both now. This isn't really relevant to the race now, so they will use this as practice and kind of building their rhythm, setting a better rhythm for themselves for the next time they're on track.
It's all about personal pride for these two, and a lot of fun at the same time. Again, looking for around that 5-second mark between the two over the line. The gap is 51, so Loeb, he's got a job to do if he's going to take this win away from Oliver Solberg.
It's very promising for Team Norway. They're having a great day together, father and son.
As Petter watches on from the garage, teammates with his son today, they'll be rivals tomorrow. A first round matchup between Petter and Oliver Solberg in tomorrow's Race of Champions. But Oliver's done a wonderful run here, a wonderful job. Can Sebastian Loeb pull out a bit of the old magic? I don't think he's going to be able to. Through the final corner and over the jump. Loeb can't do it. A wonderful run once again from Oliver Solberg, and that is complete domination. A marker has been put down by the reigning champions. 4-0, Team Norway beat Team France.
And don't forget that Seb was the one who won the individual Race of Champions last year, so this was not an easy race to win, and Oliver did it with the margin. So fantastic performance by Oliver.
With margin and style. They are looking like the real deal, Team Norway, in this Race of Champions, snow and ice.
Yeah, they're showing why they're defending champions, why they won last year. And can they do it again?
I mean, right now, you wouldn't bet against them. They're looking fantastic.
This will have done so good for the confidence of Oliver as well.
He's a nice guy. He's a really lovely guy. Great fun. just getting to know him this weekend. I'd never met him until this week. He's so much fun to be around.
I've known him since he was a little boy. Like he always coming around, always super aggressive behind the wheel.
Yeah.
Like, his driving style is like little Petter. He's really his father's son. Now though, they're a team together. Yeah. And I'm sure Petter is so proud.
Very, but he's not going to give his boy any leeway tomorrow. He said, Vettel was saying, if it was my son, I'd let him win. And Petter's like, no chance, absolutely no chance. Right, it's now Team Nordic versus Team Sweden.
Johan Kristoffersson versus Felix Rosenqvist.
And Team Sweden are 2-0 after the first runs. There is Kristoffersson in the black and orange, Rosenqvist in the turquoise and black.
Rosenqvist making his first Race of Champions appearance here this weekend. I know he's very happy to be here. It's an honor to be to be part and racing in this event. I'm sure it's every kid's dream. It was for me anyway.
It's such a unique event. There's really nothing like it, and everyone has such. I think once everyone's been for the first time, they want to come back every single year.
It's addictive. And I'm here again, even though I'm here with you, Will.
I'm sorry, it was far more fun for you last year.
Also a dream come true.
So, pulling it through the inside line now, Kristoffersson. The much tighter line, much more technical, this part of the track.
It's hard you have to almost bring your rhythm down slightly for those long corners on the inside because they are tighter than the outside.
And that first corner on the tighter inside line, the radius tightens as you get into it. It's not just a single radius.
Yeah.
You sort of hit that first apex and then really have to tighten it up and it's very, very tricky.
And you have to slide very early, but time everything right. And again, as we mentioned before, going from different cars, jumping in, and you know the track better and better, but you still have to remind yourself how the cars should be driven. But a very impressive performance by Johan Kristoffersson here.
Once again.
Beating Felix.
And that's it, 3-0 for Team Sweden. They will advance. A wonderful run from the local boys.
We have a tough semi-final coming up. Team Norway versus Team Sweden.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, that's going to be tricky.
Could have been the final, but now they're head-to-head in the semis. Let's see how they did it then.
So the replay of that race, Kristoffersson's so committed.
He's very happy to use the handbrake, Johan. You see him often on the handbrake, touching it around the middle of the corner, but always wants a lot of rotation around the middle. And you see that same style here. A lot of precision, a lot of aggression, all at the same time, and a commanding win here. Very, very, very good.
Is that tough for a single-seater racer to get used to? That utilization of the handbrake, as you were saying, getting that pitch right, being able to rotate.
Yeah, it's a bit unfair here. It's more biased towards the rally drivers being on snow and ice because the racing drivers don't really get to use their skills of perfect braking points and perfect precision on the steering wheel and everything. It's more about the car control when we're on snow and ice. And I must say to all the racing drivers here that they are doing a fantastic job. It's easy to sit on the side and say that someone did good or bad, but just to drive these cars and be somehow competitive, it's a massive achievement. So yeah, all the drivers here are here for a reason, as we said. And although Felix won't be racing anymore today, I'm sure he will have picked up a lot from today, picked up the rhythm, and will be looking for a good result tomorrow.
So Christensen on the right in the blue and yellow car, and on the left, it's Ekström in the orange and black supercar light. And this one will be for fun and for pride because Sweden are already through 3-0 against Team Nordic. It won't be a Nations Cup win for Tom Christensen this year. Team Sweden just too strong.
Yeah, very, very strong. It's important to be on the apexes now. Look at all this snow that's outside of the line. When you get stuck in that, it can be race over.
It's really building, isn't it? It's really building.
And as we say, it's probably track preparation time soon also, so this is kind of the worst track that we get. Also, these train tracks are digging out more and more. That's something that they can't repair with the big machines. Here on the braking on the inside, you see it's being very deep, and that's throwing the car around underneath you in a very uncomfortable way.
It's becoming very evident now. Christensen 6.5 back, so around a second and a half off that 5-second gap that we would expect.
Look at him pushing Matthias. See his face. He's doing his best here.
He's loving it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Loving it. It's a committed run from Ekstrom. It's a beautiful drive.
It's got a big gap. A solid run once again.
There we go. Through the final corner. It'll be 4-0 for Team Sweden. Ekstrom gets the job done. And Tom Christensen, so much success over the years in the Nations Cup, but not in 2023. Team Sweden go through with 4 wins against Team Nordic. And I think there was only ever one way that contest was going to go. Sweden just too strong.
But I am looking forward to the next, to the semi-final now. Sweden or Norway, who can take that? It will be down to the tenths of a second. Everything needs to be perfect for both teams. So, however well they've looked so far, they need to do that again, and probably need to do it even better to beat the other team.
It's going to be very special. Very excited for that one. So it's Sweden through, Nordic are out, and next up it's the Americans versus the All-Stars. Thierry Neuville, Felipe Drugovich representing the All-Stars, Tanner Faust and Travis Pastrana representing Team USA, and then we'll have the ROC boys against Team Germany. So halfway through, it will be Norway versus Sweden in the first semi-final. The next 2 quarters coming up in just a moment. So welcome then, folks. Welcome back to Race of Champions. It's Nations Cup Day, and out there on track,
It's the
car that you're
Extreme
quite familiar with. That car.
I am very familiar with this car. It's my usual office, but they told me before that this is the show car. This is actually the first car that was ever built, this chassis, a long time ago. And they had, being an old car, they had some battery issues and some drivetrain issues. So I think we're seeing Clara right here trying to restart the car. It's not ideal for them, having little technical issues on a day like this.
Well, we get a nice shot of the car, but down in the pit lane is Neil Carl.
Felix, first time at Race of Champions. It's a lot to get to grips with. How have you been enjoying it so far?
Great fun. It's been good. A little bit disappointed with. Obviously, it was going to be tough against Matthias and Johan. They're kind of the benchmark in these conditions. But I was fairly happy with my run. I had a couple of bog downs in second gear. In the morning I tried second and it worked, and now it was too low RPMs. I lost a lot of time, but surprisingly quick anyways. I think you learn something every time. You always want to redo it, but fairly happy with my performance, but not enough today.
And as a Swede, how much of this is natural to you driving on snow and ice, because it's not your racing style?
Yeah, most of the time I try to not slide. So now honestly I haven't really done it before. I've done once or twice on the ice on a lake, but I really respect these guys. It's honestly one of the toughest things I've done. Just to be precise, getting the right line takes a lot of precision, and I think I'll do more of it in the future. It's good fun.
And if we can bring in Tom, your teammate. Obviously disappointing to go out at this stage in the ROC Nations Cup, but how has this been a good matchup for you?
No, it has been really welcome to have Felix joining us, and we have been we've been strong, but for sure we are probably up against the favorite. Everyone is talking about a doubled world champions in rallycross. It's not really our tarmac. I mean, Indianapolis or Le Mans is a bit different, but nevertheless, it has been a great challenge so far. And tomorrow we are kind of competitors on the circuit racing group leading forward. So hopefully we can have
I'll help him anyways.
we can have a good run there. But it's great fun. But I mean, we are not disappointed in a way to lose to the one we lose, but sometimes it would be nicer to have been doing a little bit better, because I certainly overdid it a little bit, trying, as you know, you have to do and look for perfection to beat them. And when you're out in the loose snow, you certainly lose a lot of lap time on here. That's something which it seems they have a little bit of confidence and patience not to go too far off the line. And the way they, as you said, the precision, you put the car in quite early in terms of already going sideways before the corner starts. That's something which is cool and fantastic, but unusual.
Thanks very much, fellas. See you later.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Great to hear from the guys. And, as Oliver Solberg, pretty delighted with the matchup that he's going to have against Team Sweden in the next round. I think we're pretty delighted with that. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, you can see they're feeling the tension. All of them, they know it's a tough race coming up, but I'm excited to watch it. I would have liked to be part of it, but second best is to watch it from here.
We'll get you back in next year. Definitely get you back in for next year. So Christensen and Rosenqvist are out. Chadwick and Coulthard are out. Team France are out. And incredibly, Team Finland, Bottas and Häkkinen are out.
It's a tough race of champions. You know, you have one bad result and that's it. That's it for the day. So you can say if and but all you want, but it's an unforgiving race format, this.
It really is. It really is. So first up, Thierry Neuville, 17-time World Rally winner. And this is his debut in the championship. His debut at Race of Champions, debut in the Nations Cup, representing Team All-Stars alongside Formula 2 champion Felipe Drugovich. And he's up against Tanner Faust, who is making his return to Race of Champions. First time back here in over a decade. He's been here 3 times before. Loves the competition. And is excited to be back on the snow and ice.
It's a sign of a good career, that when you did the race in 2009 and you're still at this level more than a decade later.
Absolutely, absolutely. He was saying yesterday he's so happy to be back. And lining up with Travis Pastrana. And Timmy, as you were saying, the dents, the grooves in the line, incredibly visible now, and they're deep and getting deeper.
It's not very cold here. It's around about 0 degrees. When it's colder, the ice gets harder, so it's more resilient to that. But now being a little bit softer, it's really digging out quickly. And these guys getting their first feel for the track of the day here, already having evolved a lot. And there we see Tanner getting out in that loose snow that we were speaking about and kind of upsetting his car a little bit. That will have cost him a bit of time, and he's up against a tough competitor in Thierry Neuville. He will be very familiar with the snow, having raced in Rally Sweden a lot of times and probably preparing for that rally, doing it soon.
So it's Neuville now on the inside line.
Looks like Thierry has the upper hand. Remembering it's the chicane now with these cars. We're used to seeing very equal laps, but Thierry's done a very good job here, and with that mistake from Tanner on the first lap, has put him on the back foot.
You can't give Thierry Neuville any margin here. Such a competitor as we're used to seeing in the World Rally Championship.
I'm sure that Tanner knew that also, that they needed to make a very good run to beat Thierry here. Tanner, though, is a fantastic driver. He's done everything from stunt driving to tarmac driving to rallycross to you name it.
It's gonna be tight though, and over the line it will be Neuville.
Maybe it was that mistake that cost the time for Tanner. Might have been.
I think you're right. It was very close in the end. But it's 1-0 to the All-Stars. Just that tiny mistake from Faust. You're right on that opening lap. That's the big difference between the two. Other than that, very tight between Team USA and the All-Stars.
Yeah, and it's not easy to get everything right, as Felix was saying here in his interview before. When you're out here that you see now, when you're out there in the loose snow, it's so slippery. There is no grip whatsoever, and it even pitched his car back around, so he got an understeer and was kind of stuck out there. That will have cost him a chunk of time that he wasn't able to recover.
But a beautiful drive then from Neville. Next up, it's going to be Travis Pastrana against Felipe Dragovic. Travis Pastrana, who has already taken one win this weekend, and that was in the ice bath last night, a hole cut into the Baltic Sea here. And when we say Baltic, it really was Baltic. Travis somehow managed to stay in there for 7 minutes.
Wow.
7 minutes.
Yeah, he's built of something different, isn't he?
Yeah, I think that's the polite way of putting it.
Yeah.
Just crazy, absolutely crazy. We all gave up after that. Like no one's beating 7 minutes.
I think he posted a picture of that on his social medias as well, looking very relaxed.
Yeah, he was super chilled. I mean,
beer in his hand, in the ice.
Yeah, Travis Pastrana loves this event, and he came back in to the sauna, sat down, and we said, how long? He said 7 minutes. We said, what? And he goes, I hate the cold, but I hate losing even more.
Yeah. He's just so competitive in whatever he does. He competes in anything, not only in motorsports, but in other sports as well, as we know. And he's just a fantastic talent and a super fast racer.
The all-round competitor. Here we go then. It's Dragovic versus Pastrana. Pastrana, who is so used to this race of champions.
Pastrana getting a little bit wide here. I wonder if it's more slippery than when they practiced yesterday, because remembering this is the first lap for these guys of today. So maybe when the track was fresh yesterday, they could push harder than they can today.
Oh, and he's into the wall again. He's getting that rear end.
But it definitely
into
has
the snowbanks.
A lot of speed. Like he has been not super tidy, but still fast. It's been slightly costly mistakes, but I think he still got the good run together here. He just was racing on the ice in Canada not so long ago, in Nitro Rallycross that we have the car for here. He looked super fast, but made a few too many mistakes, he said himself, to get the ultimate result that he wanted. But he will be up to speed with how it is to drive a race car on ice like this. Just have to bring it down probably, but this is the second lap now, so they are getting into the rhythm, and they will start to get into the how the track is feeling today.
And literally in the groove. 4.3 was the gap. So it could be very tight between Dragovic and Pastrana when they finally come over the line together. Dragovic, very first time ever for him driving on the snow and ice, and he's really enjoying it. Pastrana, though, already over the jump. And it's Pastrana who takes the win from Felipe Dragovic. A good run, I think, from Felipe, when you consider he has absolutely zero experience of ever driving on studded tires, on the snow, on the ice. He said he had to buy himself a ski jacket, he said, which was pretty difficult to find one in Brazil. 48 hours ago, he was in 30-degree heat.
Yeah, he will be happy with his run then.
Very, yeah.
It's very exotic, but nevertheless, you have to win to continue to race, and yeah, they have to put it all together now at the end. It's 1-1.
So Neville won his rounds, Pastrana won his, so 1-1 to Team USA and the All-Stars. And don't forget, if it goes to 2-2, it is the combined time that ultimately decides who goes through. We're back to the Polaris. Now, Polaris Razor, haven't seen this for a while.
Yeah, we saw that right in the beginning, but it's yeah, it's probably the most different in driving style out of these cars that you have to make you know, the most of change in your driving to adapt to. And sometimes it's good, sometimes hard, sometimes not.
Lucas Blakely, who is the ROC champion, raced the Polaris for real yesterday. Has done the majority, I think, of his practice laps in the Polaris as well. He knows and loves this car. He is, I think, the one that Team Germany have to be worried about here. He beat Sebastian Vettel this time last year. He won both his rounds earlier in the day. It's Blakely versus Vettel.
The ROC guys definitely being the underdogs here in the competition today. But who doesn't love a good underdog story?
Absolutely. Oh, and Blakely's hit the barrier and almost over into the other lane.
He managed to save it.
I think we are bigging him up a bit too much. Sebastian Vettel was struggling at the start as well and mounted the inside bank. He's using everything that he can. He's really using this Polaris and attacking the track. Blakely, though, with that mistake, it's going to be very, very costly for the ROC finalists. He'd had such a good weekend up to that point, but it's not over. Not yet.
It's another mistake in that first turn that we've seen a few times now, so might very well be getting slippier.
The gap between the two, it's big. It is big. I don't think there's going to be anything that Blakely can do about this now. Vettel can bring it home, but he won't slow down. He won't stop because he knows if it's a draw, it goes down to overall time. So Seb has to keep it pinned, has to keep pushing. And it's wonderful watching Sebastian Vettel behind the wheel. What a huge loss he will be to Formula One. It's been great seeing him this week. Just a huge smile on his face. He loves this event, loves being here, and he's so relaxed, I haven't seen him so relaxed, I don't think ever. He just is loving life at the moment, Sebastian Vettel.
This is closer than we thought, though.
Wow, Blakely has pulled that back with a brilliant final tour, but it's Vettel who wins. A high five for his passenger. Way closer.
Yeah, but Blakely doing a great job of minimizing the loss here, of closing the gap, so that, you know, time-wise, if they're 2-2, they still have a shot at this.
And here's the mistake. This is where it all goes wrong. It's just where it tightens. Yeah, got going again, but there it is. Just lost the rear into the bank, and then the front was turned round, snapped in, and caught into the snow.
He should be happy that he got out of that at all. And Seb, obviously, he has seen this from the inside, so I guess the rest of the race he was kind of aware that he needed to push, he needed to stay clean without the mistake, and then he would be safe. So I'm sure that's kind of a nice way of continuing to push and learn this track.
So it's 1-0 Germany over Team ROC. Mick Schumacher is up next. And he will face Jarno Opmeer, the two-time F1 esports champion, who himself had a junior career in real-world racing. He was a karting champion in Holland and went and raced Spanish F4, Formula Renault, before switching his attentions to the virtual world, and he is one of the most highly regarded and most highly decorated sim racers in the world. Of course, is the ROC 2022 champion, 2023 runner-up.
He needs to make a good run here. You will want to make that to equal the score.
I mean, what a recovery from Blakely to finish 6/10 behind Vettel. Absolutely brilliant drive from him to recover from that. It's Schumacher on the outside in the red Polaris. On the inside is Opmeer in the yellow Polaris. This is where Blakely got it wrong. No such problems for Jarno Opmeer. And you can really see how just sort of munched up the snow's getting.
Yeah, it's so costly to get out in that loose snow. But also, you got to drive home.
And he's gone. Opmeer's done what Blakely did, just lost the rear a little bit and into the wall as Mick Schumacher is using the walls to ride.
They are pushing, aren't they? They leave nothing to chance. I don't think Jarno lost a lot of time on that mistake, though. He just was leaning a little bit on the bank and got right back into where he wanted. So not optimal, but not so bad.
Mick Schumacher has been having a lot of fun this weekend. He always looks super committed.
Got a smaller gap this time, so is it advantage to Jarno this time?
I think possibly just. It's going to be tight, though.
Yeah, close race in our hands here. They need to continue to nail it.
Riding back on board with Mick Schumacher. His car control has been really beautiful all the way through this week. The practice runs. He's got experience, of course, of this track. Knows it well.
Just front lock up there, and he was wide, turning into that sharp right-hander under the bridge. Wide again in the second to last turn.
How tight's it going to be?
It
will be close. It will be close. And Schumacher, does he hit the wall?
Oof.
I don't know if he hit the wall, but he's taken the win. Mick Schumacher with a great drive. Otmir just couldn't quite get it done. So it's 2-0 for Team Germany.
2-0, but very close in time. So it's still very much up for grabs.
It's not over.
One mistake for either of them, or one mistake for Germany, and that's it. But yeah, Germany does have the upper hand. It needs nothing to lose now for the ROC guys.
Just go out and have fun in this. Just don't put too much pressure on themselves. And there's that little slide from Otmir that saw the rear pitched in and then spinning the front around. Didn't get quite as caught up as Blakely did. Managed to recover far faster. But it's these fine margins now, isn't it?
It is, and they're all pushing so hard. They're all going fast now. Remembering these have driven before today, so
yes.
So they are closer to the margins of everything. Well, this is about time that we get a bit of a sweep.
Yes, we're going to have a slight pause in the racing action while the tractors are out on track. We're here in Peter Havsbad in Sweden for Race of Champions 2023. Snow and ice. It is Nations Cup day. Will Buxton, Timmy Hansen, and down in the pits is Neil Cole, who's standing by with Mr. Sebastian Loeb.
Sebastian, it's great to see you back at Race of Champions, of course, defending champion. It was a bit of a whirlwind arrival, the helicopter in. Has that affected your ability to get the practice in and race this morning?
For sure, I didn't practice. I did only one run of practice with one car, so it's at the moment still a few cars that I even didn't try. So it's not the best condition to be ready, but I couldn't be here earlier, so I decided to do how I can, and I ride just at the last minute. Yeah, it's today we were out of the game immediately, so that's I was counting a little bit of this day to be able to practice a bit more to prepare tomorrow, but that's how it is.
And teamed up with Adrian Tombe, but I think a lot of people enjoyed watching you race against Petter Solberg. It's an old rivalry, and it still continues.
Yeah, 20 years ago we were already fighting together, so we are still here both, so it's always exciting to fight with Petter.
And when you did Race of Champions last year, it was the beginning of a very successful year, so you're hoping for more of the same this year. Tell us about how good last year was.
Yeah, at the moment I have the same start as last year, second in the Dakar and out of the race in the Nation Cup immediately, so hopefully the rest will be as good as last year.
Thanks, good luck.
Thank you.
Very funny. Great stuff from Sebastian Loeb. He said, came second in the Dakar, pitched out of Nations Cup, but everything went really well after that for him last year, so hopefully we'll again this year.
He's done so much racing. He knows that there are good days and there are bad days. And but the fascinating thing about Seb, I know him very well from being teammates a couple of years, is that the only reason he's here is because he loves racing, and that's it. He just has the passion for this. This is what he wants to do. He's proven everything that he needs to prove, right?
Yeah.
But he's still here and he's still racing at the very highest level.
This is it. The fact that he choppered in this morning shows how much he loves this event, how much he just loves the racing here. It's such a great event. It's so much fun. It's great to see the fans back out, trackside. And you're right, it's not as cold as it was last year. not by any stretch of the imagination.
Last year was incredibly cold for one of the days. It was kind of a snowstorm, and actually for the second day, was it first or second day, we woke up in the morning and half of the track was gone.
Yes.
Half of the track had blown out to sea.
No such troubles this year.
No, so had to, you know, be creative, rebuild the track, make something else, and off we went racing, and it went pretty well.
It's a real testament to the team behind Race of Champions and what they are able to do with this event. It's a brilliantly organised, brilliantly run event. But now, back down in pit lane, Neil Cole has managed to find Travis Pastrana.
Travis, a big smile on your face because you have one win under your belt already today. Tell us what it's like out there. What's the surface like?
Oh, it's super wild. So this morning we had so much grip. So I got out there expecting a little bit more, and luckily I was inside, so I got to kind of snow roost the outside lane there a little bit. But if you step out a little bit too wide, earlier this week, yesterday, when you hit the bank, there would be ice underneath of it. Now everyone's pulling the bank out, so the bank's really soft and just sucks you in, and there's no grip out there. The spikes don't work at all. So it's kind of like Oliver Solberg's getting away with it, and just because he's just a badass, and he's backing in everywhere, and you know, same with there's a couple guys, but at the end of the day, I got Terry, and it's going to be a very, very tough next heat. Tanner Faust, he goes, I had a good run. Like he's just really quick. So we'll see what happens next hit.
And it's great to see you back at Race of Champions. Give the viewers at home a sense of why you come back and why this is such a good event at the beginning of the year.
It's so awesome to get the year started out, and you know, it's been really good. We had a snow race last weekend with Nitro Rallycross, snow race next weekend, and then going down Daytona 500, getting to check that off the bucket list. Have such a great opportunity out there with the Black Rifle crew. But this is one that I definitely tried to make. Last year I had a broken back and was watching it from home. I know all my friends are up super early right now, so hello back in Maryland. And yeah, this is the camaraderie, all the fun, that the crap talking is next level here, beyond anything. As much as it's just for fun, it's this race is important.
Okay, good luck next up.
Thank you very much.
He's right, you know, it is fun, but the needle is real. The mind games are real between the drivers. Everyone wants to win.
Everyone loves to win here. Like, that's the reason why they have all these amazing careers. And okay, it's all for fun, but everyone takes it more serious than they say. I promise you that.
It's an incredibly close lineup then between these two teams, Team USA and the All-Stars. 0.042. It's gone green, and away they go. So if we have a draw at the end, it does come down to the overall time between the four races, and at the moment it's 0.042 between the two. Absolutely incredible.
The All-Star team being very unbalanced, if you say, with Dragovic having his first experiences of snow here today, although he's making a fantastic performance here. Look at him, the way he's driving. But with Thierry Neuville, who has incredibly many kilometers on snow and ice from his WRC experience.
Tanner Faust knows these kind of conditions, is absolutely loving it here. But what do you make of Dragovic, considering he, until 2 days ago, had never driven on the snow?
Yeah, I can't believe it, actually. He's driving incredibly well, and yeah, you wouldn't think by looking at him that this is the first time he's on snow and ice. But he's up against a tough competitor. Tanner knows his way around these types of cars. He's raced rallycross for as long as I can remember, among everything else. So also in Extreme E, he's driving right now. He's a stunt driver. He knows his way around difficult cars and conditions. So looks like he has a big advantage going here. But was it 5.7?
It was
across the line?
4.5 was the gap. So it theoretically could be quite close, and he's made a mistake, a big mistake. Oh, and I think the car's gone.
The car's gone.
The car's gone. So we will wait for, we'll wait for Dragovic to cross the line. And that's a shame. That's a real shame for Tanner Faust. No! Pastrana can't believe it. Get it started again. No, it's just gone on him, hasn't it? Yeah, it's a real shame. It looked like he made a mistake, but I think the car, as we can see there, the car's just gone on him. Real shame. He's enjoying that race a lot.
I don't know if there is a theoretical chance that the Americans could claim this back again. Were they behind or ahead on time because now they will get this 10 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. They waited for a very long time before they went as well with the green lights. When they did finally get going.
Was that a jump start? Depends if he broke the jump start sensor. You see the car just stopping on him mid-corner there. He was rotating it well, getting on power, and then suddenly gave up and kind of hit the inside and stranded.
And the big jump from Dragovic takes him in. I think it would have been tight between them anyway. Dragovic had a good run. Faust has got the car running again though, and brings it home.
Devastating.
Yeah, gutting.
If
really
the gap
gutting.
between them is more than 10 seconds, that means that Team All-Stars are already through. If it's less than 10 seconds, the only hope for Team USA is that
they break down.
They break down, yeah.
Or make a mistake, and we've seen it. We've seen it in races already today. We've seen the mistakes. We've seen some big, you know, as we saw with Tombe with the spin over the bridge.
It takes very little.
Now we're going to get Team Germany now against the ROC guys. Blakely up against Schumacher.
It's another interesting race.
Yep.
Difficult to know the outcome.
The gap between the two is not a lot. Blakely needs to win this. If Team Germany win, if Schumacher wins, they go through. So it's Blakely on the outside in the blue car, Schumacher on the inside in the black. In these all-electric races, they are absolutely phenomenal to drive. The guys enjoying them so much. The Zeroid X1. 330 brake horsepower. As we ride back on boards. Beautiful control once again from Mick Schumacher, who's becoming something of a snow and ice specialist.
Yes. This is the time to put everything together now, but they know that, both of them.
So
Very
over
nice.
the line, Blakely with a 48. Schumacher comes through. Where is he? It's about 5 seconds, so it is going to be tight between them. If Schumacher wins this, there won't be a fourth race, because as soon as they hit 3, that's it. They're done. They're through. So Vettel won't go out again if Schumacher can win this. But Blakely pushing, as he has to try and take this thing to 2-2 and take it down to time. Oh,
we have a mistake.
And Blakely has gone over the bank and finds himself on the wrong part of the track. And I don't think he realizes he's onto the wrong part of the track, does he? Oh, does he come back onto the... He's come back. He's come back. My apologies.
We saw him coming back, but...
That's it. Yeah. It's game over. And so 2 mistakes from Blakely in the first race, and now in the second, and now into the wall. Disappointing for the ROC champion, and Jarno Opmeer won't get the opportunity to go out and race. Schumacher wins. It's 3-0 for Team Germany. You can see the smile on his face. Really disappointing for Blakely. Had been so far, so competitive, but both on the sim and real world this weekend. The commitment that he's shown out on track has been phenomenal. His pace has looked great, but just a couple of mistakes, maybe the pressure getting to him at the end.
Maybe it's the pressure. Maybe he just lost focus. It only takes a brief moment, and you're off. So, but no doubt that he's a great talent. He's shown incredible pace today. I think he should be happy with the day and gave Team Germany run for their money. But in the end of the day, Schumacher came out on top, and they're on to the semi-finals.
Track becoming so tricky out there. You just, as you said, once again, get out onto that loose stuff. It draws you in, it pulls you in, and then you're into the snow barrier and over the top. So Schumacher takes the win. Oof, big hit for Blakely. But Schumacher takes the win. It's 3-0, so Vettel won't get to run again. 3-0. Germany are through.
Oh, he will get to run again, but in the semi-finals.
Yes, just not in the in the quarters. So, I think Neil has managed to find one of the Solbergs down in the pit lane.
Petter, it's great to see you just then talking to Sebastian Loeb, old rivals and friends, and you're through to the semi-finals. Good team with you and Oliver.
Well, obviously with Loeb, you know, it's been a good friendship. You know, he helped Oliver also driving on tarmac for a couple of days, and you know, friends like that, you know, it's valuable. He's the best rally driver. So, but anyway, Oliver done a fantastic morning, and I felt I did well, not perfect. So I need to get everything right now if I'm gonna beat you1. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's quite a matchup, Johan Kristoffersen and Matthias Ekström against the Solbergs.
Yeah, you never know. You know, he's a very good driver, and Ekström also. You know, they're clever drivers. So let's see. We do what we can, and we just really enjoy to be here.
And tell us what it's like, the conditions out there, because you're no stranger to racing on snow and ice, but this is a very specific track.
The conditions are changing every round, you know, so it's very difficult to compare times properly and everything, and it's so easy to do a mistake. And but I think everybody loves it, and it's great to have the Americans here also with Faust and Pastrana. So it's good competition. So now we will see. There's a lot of excitement. You know, when you start to have butterflies still in the stomach, you know, you still love what you do.
Wow, thank you. Good luck.
Great to hear from Petter, and that is going to be a phenomenal matchup in the next round. I think everyone excited to see that.
Yeah, he knows what's coming here. It's going to be tough. Solberg, Kristoffersen, Ekström. I'm sure we've seen a couple of podiums with those three guys in the World Rallycross Championship. Oliver Solberg, of course, coming to watch many of the races. I saw him out there, but now a star of his own, doing fantastically well in the world of rallying, WRC last year and Rally 2 this year.
Doing a great job. Now, you may have seen some passengers in the cars, some lucky folks getting to sit along and ride along, as we have right here. They've got a number on them, and that's because they've all been weighed. And so to ensure that there is no advantage for one driver over another, the passengers are all from the same weighted category.
Everything counts.
Everything counts. So the final then, the final race between Team USA and the All-Stars. If it goes to 2-2, then it comes down to time, and of course Faust failing to make it to the end as the car died on him.
Yeah, really the only way that that Team All-Stars here and Thierry will get knocked out is by some mistake or technical failure. Travis, though, just needs to be flat out and hope for the best.
And we're going to wait for the lights, and now we're racing once again on the snow and ice here in Sweden. On the right-hand side of your picture is Neville. On the left-hand side in the orange and black car, Travis Pastrana. Great matchup between these two. Should be a lot of fun. Neville, I think, will feel comfortable and confident in this car.
And Neville also knowing that he doesn't need to do too much, being that the only way they lose is with a massive, if they have a massive disadvantage. I'm sure he's a little bit safe. Saying that, you want every lap of practice that you can get, so...
And he's not holding back.
Yeah.
Through the switch back, Pastrana's taken the jump already. It's a tidy first lap, though, from Neville as well. And over the line, the gap between the two is... I can't see. We're just going to have to tell as they come across the line. So Pastrana really giving it everything, full beans, as he tries to take as big a chunk as he can out of that 10 seconds lost with Tanner Faust's retirement.
The track looking a little bit better than it did just before, after they've prepared and everything, but still the spikes aren't long, so it doesn't take much snow before they don't touch the ice anymore, and there's no grip if you go out there. So let's see who gets the upper hand here. Thierry Neuville comes over the jump.
It's going to be Neuville. A brilliant drive from Thierry Neuville. And that means the All-Stars will go through. Neuville and Drugovich dispatch the Americans, Pastrana and Faust. And Lovely to see on Pastrana's helmet, as on so many this weekend, a tribute to Ken Block. It's very sadly missed. Lovely run from Neville there. Really, really nice. As you said, just kind of, he was pushing, but just keeping everything under control. Knew he didn't need to go crazy.
Makes it look easy when you do that, but still very fast. You know, neat and tidy. Sometimes it's faster than you think. So I think that, you know, there was nothing really spectacular about that run. Just pure speed, pure fast. Very, very good performance. And he will be looking forward to doing more laps in the semi-finals.
So we know now what the semi-finals will look like. It'll be Team Germany against the All-Stars, and it's Team Sweden against Team Norway. And that will be the first one coming up now. Semi-final A, Team Norway versus Team Sweden, the all Solberg lineup at Team Norway, the defending champions against the home heroes, then the All-Stars versus Team Germany.
This is a tough one. I'm so excited to see.
I can't wait.
It's gonna need everything they have from the first corner. But, you know, getting thrown into the Polaris kind of mixes things up, because this is out of their comfort zone. None of them has spent too much time in a car like this. It is very different to drive. It feels very high, feels very soft. You have to work a lot with the pitch of the car, at the same time as it doesn't have a lot of grip or traction. So you can't really accelerate or decelerate. You just have to keep a good momentum.
So it's Kristoffersen on the left-hand side of your screen. In the blue Polaris, in the yellow is Petter Solberg. I can't wait for this. And off we go, off the line, lighting it up on the snow and ice and drifting around the long left-hander. Kristoffersen versus Petter Solberg. So experienced, these two. This is the competition that we've been really looking forward to. The control from both, beautiful sliding around. Gorgeous, absolutely lovely. Solberg nowhere near slipping into the outer wall. Just deft touches,
it's very
beautiful.
hard to see any difference between them, but we knew that they would take something different. So we knew it would take, you know, next level good. It takes so much precision to go through from this semi-final. It needs everything, so it needs that perfect lap, and they're both very close to it. It's down to the very fine margins. Haven't seen any mistakes so far. It's been spot on perfect with what I've seen so far from them both. So this will be tight.
Brilliant views from the drone. Fantastic camera work to take you right into the thick of the action. As Kristoffersen gets it fired up.
Beautiful camera angle, seeing the work they're doing with the steering wheel.
Just a couple of corners left now.
This is it, who takes the first win.
It's going to be tight. It's going to be really tight just through the final corner for Kristoffersen, and here comes Solberg. Kristoffersen will take it just.
The tightest of margins, just as we were hoping for, isn't it?
Brilliant. What a run from Johan Kristoffersen. And that's huge. The home heroes defeat the reigning champions in race 1 of 4. They needed that. Brilliant stuff. Brilliant drive. As you said, it was just precision. Perfect. Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah, 2 beautiful runs. You know, it's fantastic to see, and it's fantastic to see it so close. It will be gutting for Petter to know that he's made such a good run and still lost out. So he'll be bummed about that. But it's all to play for still. But advantage
so
Sweden.
Close. So close. Yeah, punches the air. Delighted with that. And the crowd loved it too. Very, very close.
That's a very popular win there.
Oh, yeah. And we get to do it all over again. And now it's in the Cupras, which means the chicane is back. on the bridge.
Oliver Solberg versus Matthias Ekström in this one.
And there is that chicane. Back in position for the Cupras.
This moment when they're pulling up onto the grid, the first thing they're thinking about is to find the fresh ice where it's good grip for the start, but also trying to memorize your exact references for this very car and trying to combine that with your experience of how the track is developed and making an estimate of how fast to go into the first corner, how to commit to the beginning of your run. Because after the beginning, you're into the flow and rhythm, but you need to get started somewhere, and they will both be kind of anticipating something at this point. It's not easy. It's part of the challenge of the Race of Champions to make that estimate right from the start line there and pitching it into the first corner, having to be, everything counts right from the beginning, and being only a 3/10 gap, it's super close in this semi-final between Sweden and Norway.
So, round 2 of this first semi-final. It's 1-0 to Team Sweden against the defending champions, Team Norway. Oliver Solberg versus Matthias Ekström. Ekström on the left with the orange. Solberg on the right with the yellow. And we've seen that commitment from Oliver Solberg all the way through this weekend.
Understeer there for Matthias in turn 2. Very wide slide from Oliver in that same corner on the inside.
Get inside with Oliver Solberg, the concentration on his face, mouth open. He's been one of the most impressive drivers. He's the one I think that nobody really wants to face up against because he's so aggressive, so committed.
He's had a great day today. He's really on form. And he's got the lead so far.
Just about. Yeah.
But depending on the slight differences on the inside or outside line.
It looks, I think.
But look how
like
aggressive he's driving, Oliver. Super, super sideways, but super precise. And yeah, just a pleasure to watch.
It's a pretty big lead, I think, to be only that far, that closely behind after that first lap.
You see Matthias struggling with the absolute timing. He was rotated in that long left-hand a little bit too early, had to turn out from the inside. He has the speed, but he hasn't made a very perfect run.
It's day and night. It's day and night. Solberg's going to take it. And that was an easy win in the end for Oliver Solberg. What a brilliant run.
Oliver Solberg, so impressive today.
Incredible. Incredible. So it's 1-1 between the two teams, between Sweden and Norway.
And I think time advantage to Norway. So being incredibly even, but slight advantage for Norway right now, thanks to that fantastic drive from Oliver.
It's a great run.
Look at his commitment here on the inside. He got that estimate that we were speaking about just right. You see right from the beginning here is spot on, and there is that little understeer from Ekström running wide and entering into this SS section, not in the ideal line, and then he probably kept losing a tenth or two in the following corners.
Beautiful.
That they're both incredibly skilled at driving cars like this in conditions like this. It's yeah, I'm happy to watch a race this good.
Just watching these guys at the peak of their powers. Phenomenal driving. Beautiful racing on the snow and ice. Now, Neville lines up for the All-Stars, and he will go against Sebastian Vettel for Team Germany. Back in the Polaris. Just 814 kilograms, these cars. Pretty light.
Vettel adapting very well to, you know, this off-road style of racing, I must say.
Just to anything. It's the brilliant thing with the Race of Champions and Seb. The number of years he's turned up, it doesn't matter where, it doesn't matter what the track configuration is, what the surface is, what the car is. Seb is always competitive.
Yeah, now he has to do it on snow and ice in the Polaris. That's kind of tricky to drive. I think Thierry would have been hoping for one of the rally or rallycross cars that's more familiar to his WRC car. Maybe this plays into the hands of Seb and Team Germany. We'll see how they get on.
So there is Vettel in the black and red car. And Neville, of course, so used to racing in the World Rally Championship. These cars, nothing like a rally car. The way that they pitch and bounce, it's the guys are saying it's very, very tricky to control them.
The power to weight ratio is very good in them. They got huge suspension travel, but they're really made to go in a straight line. So with this high center of gravity to turn, it handles very differently to the other rally cars.
So about 6-second gap, 5.6 is the actual gap between Neville and Vettel. So it's advantage Neville at the moment, but not by much. It's going to be tight between these two.
Also, these cars have no gears. It's a fluent gear. I don't know the English word for this, but they don't have to shift anyway. Just more or less flat out everywhere. Pitch it on the brake to get it rotated, and back on the throttle, spin the wheels up. And it looks very important to be on the apex. Every good run we've seen with the Polaris so far, they're always very precise and spot on.
It's going to be tight. Through the final corner comes Neville, and it is close. Wow, Neville takes it, but only just.
By a car length.
Very, very close between Thierry Neville and Sebastian Vettel. But the first win goes to the All-Stars.
That was a big win for them.
Massive.
Start off in a good way like this.
They needed that. And Vettel, who is so used to the race of champions, to these cars, to these conditions, having been here last year, it's Neville's first race of champions. But the man who is so consistently competitive in the World Rally Championship, putting all of that experience to good use. And that was, yeah, pretty much just a car length over the line. Incredible. Yeah, absolutely brilliant.
Couldn't have been closer almost.
He'll take that.
He looks delighted.
Absolutely. Yeah, wonderful stuff. Really wonderful stuff.
There's a crowd fighting on. You know, standing out there in the cold, it can get tough by now. They've been there for a few hours, but the sun is warming at least, and they look happy from here, looking out the commentary window.
It's a wonderful experience here, great atmosphere. Very relaxed, very chilled out. Really great fun. Really, really great fun. The place that we're in Peter Hafsbad, sort of in the continued push for sustainability. The accommodation here, the staff team, guests, we're all within walking distance of this track. And it's all 95% sustainable power here. The use of electric vehicles and machines. Everything's been electric this weekend, and the cars themselves, they're either electric or they're using 100% fossil-free biofuel in the non-electric cars. These, though, the Cupras, and it's going to be Drugovich against Schumacher, two Formula 2 champions doing battle on the snow and ice. Drugovich on the outside with the yellow flashes on the windscreen, Schumacher on the inside with the red flashes.
This is an interesting race, isn't it? Seeing two guys with such a similar background, growing up in the same way, racing the same kind of cars, having the same kind of skill set, but who's going to have, you know, the upper hand in this race today in the snow and ice? It looks like a little mistake from Drugovich there in the SS section. He got a little bit caught out on one of the apexes and lost his rhythm slightly.
Yeah, he needed a couple of bites at it, didn't he?
Yeah. Getting the car slowed down for this chicane before the jump.
Takes the jump. Comes through the gap between them with that chicane. It's 1.3 seconds. So Drugovich at the moment is looking pretty good as
Did both of them make a mistake?
Yeah, I think Schumacher has made a mistake. I think he went into the wall.
I think they were both in the wall in the same time. Look at the snow there on Drugovich front.
Yeah, definitely. So they both have lost a little bit of time through there. It is going to be tight. It will be close between these two now. It was pretty close after that first half, but with both of them making mistakes down at turn 1, and you can see the snow in the grill on Dragobic's car. Which of these Formula 2 champions will come out on top? We're running behind Schumacher up the hill through the chicane. Where's Dragovic? He comes through on the right-hand side. Schumacher's already down the hill and over the line. Schumacher will take it. Dragovic comes home second. So it's 1 apiece. 1 to Germany, 1 to the All-Stars.
Well, we're getting a good show here. They're putting everything on the line for us and giving us good, close races, aren't they?
Brilliant stuff. Great stuff, and just a couple of little mistakes from both drivers on that last lap, but it's Schumacher who comes out on top.
1-1 in both semi-finals so far.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. It couldn't be tighter. That's what you want. 1-1 in both semi-finals.
Schumacher would be happy about that one.
Very much. And there's that. There's the contact.
Yeah.
And Schumacher, there's his contact.
Full send. He was definitely committed into that first corner. He knew he had some time to make up after his little mistake on the first lap. He probably thought there's nothing to lose and might as well send it, and I just got out into that loose snow and dragged him out into the bank.
In these kind of conditions and in these kind of cars, when you know you've made that small mistake and you know there are so few opportunities to make up for it, can that lead to more mistakes?
Yeah, it depends on how strong you are mentally, I think. You know, in the ideal world, you always do the best possible corner.
It's Race of Champions 2023 in Peterhafsbad. The Nations Cup will be decided today. Will Buxton and Timmy Hansen with you. And down in the pit lane, I think, is Neil Cole.
Thierry, the Team All-Stars are both Race of Champions rookies, but you seem to have adapted really well. Tell us how you're enjoying today so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. The atmosphere is great. We have a lot of fun. But once everybody put their helmet on, there's a real competition, you know, and nobody wants to give away anything. Yeah, I enjoyed it so far. 3 wins out of 3. And beating Vettel, obviously, is something special.
And as I watch you here looking at the timing screens, everyone's looking at those tenths of seconds, who's got the quickest lap in which car. It's really, really important.
Yeah, it's intense, and I mean, they're the best drivers in the world, so everybody wants to show that he's the best and go as fast as possible. But me and Felipe have done a very good first battle with against Team America, and I think it's looking not too bad for the battle against Germany, but they are very strong.
And from your perspective as a rally driver, give us an idea of how tricky these conditions are to know how to handle the cars.
Yeah, obviously the most difficult is to switch the cars, you know, switch from one car into the other within 5 minutes, straight to the start line and get it going, to understand the car, the behaving, the evolution of the track as well. We see a lot of track evolution. But yeah, I mean, as a rally driver, we are used to it, but as a circuit driver is definitely demanding.
So what's the plan for the next round, the next matchup?
I have no other choice than going flat out. We need to win with the biggest margin possible to try to stay within the game.
Thank you, good luck.
Great to hear from Thierry Neuville, and as he says, he's just got to go out there and send it and try to make the biggest gap that he can. The light is starting to fail around here.
Yeah, it's getting dark. I don't think the sun is in too bad of an angle to be in the eyes of the drivers in the worst places, though. We don't want anything of that coming in the way of our good racing that we got left in these semi-finals and finally in the all-deciding final that we got coming up. But first, it's impossible to predict any of the winners of the semi-finals. It's so close.
It's so tight. It's exactly what you want. 1 apiece, 1 win for every team so far in the semi-finals. If it goes to 2-2, it goes down to the overall time. So it will be Norway versus Sweden. And the sea's coming in as well.
Did we have that before?
No, that was frozen this morning. That was frozen solid this morning.
We don't want the track to float away middle of the race now.
So there we go. It is Norway versus Sweden in the first semi-final. All-Stars versus Germany in the second semi-final. It's 1 win to Norway, 1 win to Sweden, 1 for the All-Stars and 1 for Team Germany. This for overall honours in the Nations Cup. Petter Solberg looks on. He will face Ekström.
Yeah, this is a tough race. They've driven quite a lot by now. They know the track very well, but the difficulty of jumping into another car never goes away. And even though they might have driven the car, I don't remember, but earlier on, still need to remind themselves of how this car is right now, and they need to make it perfect from the first corner.
As we wait for the lights, they're on, and we're racing in the Zeroid X1s. Solberg on the outside. Ekström on the inside in the orange car. Petter Solberg, of course, defending Nations Cup champions, Team Norway, the father and son duo of Petter and Oliver Solberg, taking on the home heroes, Team Sweden, in this first semi-final. It's 1 win apiece. Lovely lines from Solberg. Ekström just as committed. As Solberg takes the car back under the tunnel, back around. We look for about a 5-second gap between them over the line.
That was a big jump from Petter.
And the gap is pretty much exactly 5 seconds, 4.9. It's close. It's really tight between these guys.
Yeah, they need to continue to nail it. It's going to be down to the wire, just down to the finest of margins. So look at the precision here of Petter, so close to the snowbanks, but still got the car in fantastic angle.
Mega. Solberg then, having lost his first run to Kristoffersen, wants to make amends against Mattias Ekström.
Oh, so
it's going to be tight. It's going to be tight. It's going to be very, very close. It's Solberg. Just is it? No! He's lost it, I think. Ekström just
by a thousandth. By a thousandth of a second.
Incredible. And it's exactly what you were saying earlier. You come through, you start to see the guy rising up the crest of the hill, and you floor it, and you can lose it all through that final corner.
Yeah. You get too keen to get on the gas, and the wall's so close to you.
1,000th of a second.
Is the timing accurate though?
It's incredible.
You couldn't see it, could you?
Unreal. Unreal. Wow. It does not get closer than that. 1,000th of a second over the line. And it's Team Sweden who take the advantage 2-1 in this first semi-final.
It's still depending, because I think Norway has the advantage on time, being after Oliver's big win before, but Sweden has the advantage in wins. So it still comes down to who wins this race now.
And by how much.
Yeah, but if Oliver wins, they already have the time margin. So whoever wins this race out of Oliver and Johan will make it through.
This is going to be great. Absolutely brilliant. So this will be it. It's all on this race for semi-final A. 3 races down. It's 2 for Sweden, 1 for the defending champions Norway. It's all on this. If it's 2-2, it's the combined time. If it's 3-1, it's Sweden that go through. Pastrana can't believe it.
No.
I don't think anyone can.
They're all shocked in there.
That was close. Absolutely incredible.
We all love a good race, right? Everyone's happy in there.
Wonderful.
It's a close race, great driving, no mistakes, and comes down to that. Wow.
Brilliant stuff. So it will be Kristoffersen against Oliver Solberg. Solberg, who has impressed so many people this week. Just beautiful driving and aggressive driving as well.
Yeah, Oliver might be the one to beat today so far, at least, but none of that counts. He's still got to do another good run, and this is here now. Who makes the best lap here?
We wait, and we're underway. So it is Solberg in the blue, Kristoffersen in the black. for the honour of going through to the Nations Cup final? Will it be Sweden or will it be Norway? Oliver Solberg so far has been pretty much unbeatable on the snow and ice.
Sweden being up on wins but down on time, and the opposite for Norway, so whoever gets this race now.
We're right on board with Kristoffersen. Through and under the bridge. Flicks left and right. And Solberg, the gap, we're looking for something around the 5-second mark.
There was a lot of speed to bring into the first corner from Oliver. Was this maybe slightly wide there?
And it is 5.2 is the gap between them. Solberg pushing like crazy to take the win back. To take this thing to 2-2, take it to time. Once again, beautiful control despite the divots and the ruts that have been created through the ice. Solberg mastering them. Under the bridge, he'll have the tight cut back. And there in the background is Kristoffersen, who will round the final corner, and over the jump it's going to be tight again, but I think Solberg will have this. He does. It's 2-2, which means it goes to time. And with that in mind, I think that means that Team Norway will go through.
Equal on wins, but I think Team Norway is ahead on time.
Yeah, Petter knows it. Norway go through. So the local heroes are out.
What a performance again by Oliver. I mean, he's just outstanding today. He's made all of his runs fantastic.
With the form he's showing today, I think he has to go in tomorrow as favourite.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks unbeatable right now. In any car, he looks unbeatable.
He's had the best of days. He's driven so well and he's performed every time. I haven't seen him put a foot wrong so far.
Yeah, you do not want to go up against Oliver Solberg tomorrow. I think even his dad is going to be worried about that first matchup.
Yeah. And Team Norway through to the final then as reigning Nations Cup champions, and then into the final again.
Yes, indeed.
Who will they go up against?
Well, will it be Team Germany or will it be Team All-Stars? I don't think that is Vettel and Dragovic, because we haven't had the second races yet. That'll be that's the gap between Norway and Sweden, I think, that we just saw there. That was such a tight finish in that first round. Yeah. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
And you can see they're so happy there. The Solberg family, Pernilla, Petter, and of course Fredrik here closest to the camera, putting this whole event together.
Yeah, all thanks to Fredrik that this thing even exists. And I don't think I've ever seen a broader smile than the one that Fredrik has every day of Race of Champions. It's his baby. He loves this thing. He just loves bringing everyone together and creating this wonderful festival of motorsport. There is nothing like it in the world. Just a truly unique, joyous occasion that everyone loves coming back to every year. So it's Dragovic versus Vettel, four-time F1 world champion, racing the reigning Formula 2 champion.
It's a jump start.
Could be a jump start for Seb if he's gone over the line. And a former Aston Martin F1 driver racing Aston Martin's current reserve driver in the supercar light. Vettel in the blue and yellow, Dragovic in the orange and black, and Vettel just getting the front bogged down a little bit on the exit of turn 1 as he got pulled onto the soft snow off the racing line.
Seb off to a bit of a scruffy start here with the maybe jump start, and then a bit of an understeer in turn 2, but still very much in the game. Another understeer there, being a little bit too close to that snowbank on the inside. I think Dragovic has
possibly a little advantage. Big jump from Vettel. That's a huge amount of air for the four-time F1 world champion. Dragovic, of course, the rookie here at Race of Champions. His first time on the snow and ice. Using using the handbrake around turn 1.
Yeah, an extra tool that he has that he's not used to, but he's got familiar with it.
Got used to it pretty quickly, hasn't he? Having a great time, really enjoying himself. Vettel, though, will want to get into that final for another occasion. So successful here, Sebastian Vettel, and he's already down and under the bridge. Drugovich is coming through. Almost at the bridge now, Drugovich. It's going to be really tight between them. Drugovich up and over the hill. But Vettel is going to take it. Oh, and clips the wall.
He used all of the racing track that was available to him there. Like he wanted to get on the power. Sebastian Vettel takes the win. Must have been a very good second lap.
Or will he? Does
he pick up a penalty?
Does he pick up a penalty for a potential jump start? We believe it's being looked into.
There it is.
There it is.
Just reacting to when they're ready to race, the yellow ready to race board goes out. He's already ready inside the car. He's got the car revved up. He stood there on the bike point of the clutch. And because something moves on the light,
you go.
You go, yeah. But you have to wait for the green, obviously. It's very easy from back here to say that, but once you're in the car and the adrenaline is pumping, then it's a whole different story.
Wow, this changes everything. Boom, there we go. That was a hit over the line.
He knew he had to take everything. I think he was behind probably after half a lap.
There we go. Father and son delighted to go through.
Det var jo nærmere første runden, så andre runden så...
What a team. Norway then through to the final, but will it be Germany or the All-Stars that go through? Has Sebastian Vettel been given a penalty? Will he lose that win? We will find out.
It doesn't matter.
And I'm hearing he has.
He has.
5-second penalty, so it'll be 2-1 then to the All-Stars. If Neville can take this win or just keep it close to Mick Schumacher. The gap is 6.9 seconds.
That's devastating for Germany, having, taken that win. But, he didn't gain any time on it. Seb didn't gain anything, probably lost by the jump start because he was probably late leaving the line. But, rules are rules, and he probably did cross that jump start sensor, and then that is a penalty. So,
will the rookies face the champions in the final? An all-rookie lineup at the All-Stars. Drugovich and Neville. That would be a story.
They've got it in their hands now.
Yeah.
They've got the time on their side. They've got more wins. So what Thierry needs to do is to put in a solid drive here without losing too much time. Actually, the time is closer than I remembered, so only 2 seconds. But so we can't relax too much, Thierry. Mick's been fast also. Yeah.
Apparently that's not a correct graphic. I think it's closer to 6.8, I think, after the 5 seconds.
Did they not have the 5 seconds included?
5 seconds would be added to it.
Yeah.
So here we go then. Neville versus Schumacher to see who will go through to the Nations Cup final. Will it be Team Germany or will it be the All-Stars, the rookies, Neville and Drugovich? Mick Schumacher in the orange, Neville in the silver. Neville, of course, rally superstar, very, very used to these cars. Even if there's a slight difference with these being all electric.
See how he's going very quickly from side to side, sliding one way to the other. Very, very nice and decisive kind of body language on Thierry's driving. It looks fast.
Beautiful jump from Schumacher. What's the gap? We're looking for around about 5 seconds with these cars. And it's under. Advantage Neville. Getting it done, driving beautifully in these conditions. Schumacher's got to find something, dig deep.
On the handbrake there for Schumacher.
He's giving it everything, isn't he? Just trying to find something.
He's driving very well. He's putting everything together, but it's not easy to beat Thierry Neville on these conditions.
And I think he may have tapped something, the rear bumper hanging off Schumacher's car. as he comes through the final corner. Neville is already over the jump and
Massive
over
jump.
the line, and the All-Stars, the rookies, will go through to the final. It's the reigning champions, Team Norway, versus the all-rookie lineup of Thierry Neville and Felipe Drugovich. What a story.
Wow. What two close semi-finals we've just had.
Brilliant.
Brilliant racing, and I can't wait for the final now. You know, everything gets decided in these next 5 races now.
Yep.
So the format kind of changes now. We don't take the time into consideration anymore.
No.
So it's all down to winning the race, and it's best out of 5.
Yep, so the first to 3 wins. Can't wait for that.
You can put everything on the line now. If you see you're behind, got nothing to lose. You don't have to worry about not losing time.
So, I wonder who'll go out first. It's like choosing your penalty takers.
It's already decided who goes first and where, but
so it's time for the final here in Sweden. Race of Champions, Snow and Ice 2023. It will be the defending champions, Team Norway, against the all-rookie lineup of the All-Stars, Felipe Drugovich and Thierry Neville. Will Buxton with you. And Timmy Hansen and Timmy, it's been a great day. It's been wonderful racing.
yeah, it's been you know, very entertaining day of racing here. Race of Champions is it's all just a celebration of motorsport, isn't it? That we're seeing this car now, the very pinnacle of Dakar racing, and also, of course, the legendary Audi Quattro from what years was it racing in the 80s?
One of the most iconic rally Group B cars of all time. Just a phenomenal car.
Yeah, you gotta love that sound.
Oh.
It's beautiful to see that on track, and you know, it's also nice to see the development of motorsport, but also this whole race event by itself. You know, we're not racing for anything really. The money you win as a driver gets passed on to charity, so all the drivers are here just for fun, just for the pleasure of driving good cars against other disciplines, and what great racing we've had. But also, everyone's here for fun, but everyone wants to win.
Yeah. Well, you can't put racing drivers in a competitive setting and not have them be competitive. It's going to be a great final. Who would have thought that the rookie pairing would make it all this way into the final? Felipe Drugovich, who a couple of days ago was at home in Brazil in 30-degree heat, realized he needed to go and buy himself a ski jacket, and has turned up to drive for the very first time on snow and ice, and has made the final alongside World Rally star Thierry Neville. And they go against the reigning champions, Team Norway. It'll be Petter Solberg up against Thierry Neville in the opening race in the Cupras.
I'm so excited for this race now. These guys have put together fantastic laps all the way today. They've gone faster and faster all as the days gone by. You know, looking from this perspective, in the beginning we kind of saw some mistakes. We saw the drivers settling into where the track is and how it's going. But now they've got so many laps under their belt. They know exactly what they're doing, and.
So this is it then, the final of Race of Champions Nations Cup 2023. It's the All-Stars, Thierry Neville and Felipe Drugovich, against the reigning champions, Team Norway. Father and son duo of Petter and Oliver Solberg. This first race will be Neville versus Petter Solberg. Who's your money on?
This is tough. I think both Thierry and Petter have been fantastic. This is hard. This is hard to call this one.
Very tough.
I think
very tough.
The one the pressure is on is maybe Drugovich in the next race coming. You know, Thierry is a rookie in Race of Champions, yes, but he's got so much experience on snow and ice like this. But Dragovic to take it all the way to the final without having raced this before. It's fantastic. But now, let's watch Peter Solberg versus Thierry Neuville.
So Solberg on the right with the yellow flash on the screen. It's Neuville on the left with the red flash on his screen. In the Cupras, into turn 1. Tight, narrowing and tightening on the inside line. It's a double left, long left-hander on the outside line for Neuville. And Neuville has looked brilliant today. So too, though, has Peter Solberg. It's going to be very, very tight. Difficult to choose between these two lovely lines.
A little bit hard to see there for Thierry on the outside. You know, a lot of snow getting thrown over to his side, but it was only for a brief moment.
And he has to go through the chicane, up the hill. Little jump down the start-finish stretch. There shouldn't be too much of a gap between them. And look at the dents now in the ice, the grooves that have been formed down there into turn 1.
Tell you what, Thierry has made a fantastic opening lap. Usually with these cars we see it kind of within a second or second and a half, but what a first lap Thierry has made here to already pull such a gap on Peter.
So right on board, and now take a look at Thierry Neuville, the Belgian flag waving behind his car. A great first lap, just a couple of corners remain. The left, right to bring it back onto the start-finish stretch. And Solberg, very sideways, clattering the barriers, very close, very tight between these two. Neuville sideways and over the line. It's Neuville who takes the first win in the final over Peter Solberg. It's 1-0 to the All-Stars.
Yeah, what a start. Maybe Peter lost a bit of time going in too fast to that chicane. That's a corner that they're not used to doing. They're used to the rhythm being kind of different there. But even without the mistake, I don't think it would have been enough to beat Thierry.
Just too good today. Neuville looking fantastic. And the lineup next will be Dragovic. His first time on snow and ice against the man that I don't think anyone wants to race right now, and that's Oliver Solberg.
It's quite an asking of Dragovic, but they do have the upper hand. The rookies are leading the reigning champions after one round. And remember, it's not about time anymore. Yep. So this is just point to Team All-Stars.
All about the wins. It's 1-0, best of 5. So first to 3 wins the final in the Nations Cup. And we've changed cars away from the Cupras to the Polaris.
Does this go in the favor of Felipe here?
Do you know what? It might.
That you know, you take Oliver out of his comfort zone a little bit. I don't think we've seen Oliver in the Polaris today. So out of any car that Felipe could have chosen to race at this point, I think it would have been this one.
It's a level playing field. There is Oliver Solberg.
Still won't be easy to beat.
No. No, no, no.
He's on form today.
There he is. Ready for the off. What a lineup. What a lineup. These two youngsters, Dragovic and Solberg. It's Dragovic on the left in the blue. It's Solberg on the right in the red. And we're racing at the Race of Champions.
So important to get these first couple corners right now, because you're not into the rhythm of this car, what it's like yet. You haven't really felt it, but the time is still going. You need to be fast already from this point.
Dragovic. Just another little bite at it. Riding on board with him now. Really hustling it through the corners.
Nice and tight lines from him, but I think Oliver has maybe opened up a slight gap already. Looked very committed there through turn 2 and into 3.
It's the pace and the commitment that Solberg is showing, and the adaptability as well to be able to switch between cars as he takes the jump. Dragovic through the final corner and down the start-finish stretch. The gap between them, 3.4 seconds. It's pretty close.
There's not much for Felipe to go by for this second lap, I think. He's got to pull something nice, something extra out of the bag to beat Oliver in this run.
It's going to take a pretty titanic effort to beat Oliver Solberg today.
Even in the Polaris.
Even in the Polaris. There is Dragovic. Here comes Solberg. Everyone watches on. All friends back at base, out on track. Quite the opposite. And Solberg is already up and over the jump. It was a good effort from Felipe Dragovic. But Oliver Solberg is unstoppable. And frankly, right now, is looking unbeatable.
I don't think he's lost a single race yet today.
Phenomenal.
And,
absolutely phenomenal.
He's done it with margin. He hasn't raced Thierry yet, though.
That will come next.
Thierry took a commanding win against Petter in the race before. I'm looking forward to that.
So it's 1-1.
It's 1-1.
Best of 5. 3 races left. That's what we like. It's a tie.
Yeah, they've definitely given us a great show today.
Great fun.
I just can't predict. I think at this point Norway are my favorites. But it's so hard to tell.
So hard to call.
They are the reigning champions after all, but can the rookies beat them?
I mean, it's a story alone that the rookies have made it all the way to the final. Having deposed a number of teams who might easily have expected to beat them. But the All-Stars take Heat 1. Norway takes Heat 2. And we ride now to Heat 3, and it will be all to play for. So here we are in Sweden then, 2 heats down, 3 still to come in the final for the Race of Champions Nations Cup. Down in the pit lane, Neil Cole has managed to find Tanner Faust.
Tanner, it's great being in here, watching the drivers getting ready for the final. I know you wish you were in the final. Talk us through your day so far.
Well, we had a tough draw with the All-Stars. You know, when you get beat, it's always nice to see them go to the finals. And Neville was my first draw. It was quite quick. He got me by a second and a half. And then in the second run, I needed to make up some time. And the car, unfortunately, just shut off. So it's very rare to have a technical issue. But in that instance, the run just does not count. And then the pressure was on for Travis to take down one of the fastest guys here. And it was very close, but didn't happen. So we're in our civilian gear now. We're cheering on the teams. The racing's unbelievable. So glad to see a race within 1,000th of a second. And, you know, the fans here are loving it. It's just an amazing event.
And you got some track time to prepare for tomorrow for the Race of Champions. What have you learned from the track today?
Well, the track changed so much quicker today than in the practice days and the previous day. So much time on the track. So the difference between the grippy bit and the slippy bit is so much bigger now that there's a big cushion. And then when they go out and they sweep it, really they just sort of move the sand around, kind of is what it looks like. So there's never a huge amount of grip. What it means essentially is you just have to send it in, use a lot of side angle and kick the dust off the side of the tire. It kind of messes up the guy on the outside because he gets sprayed with snow dust, but as you can see from the Solbergs, maximum commitment pays off.
And finally, this is the final. It's tight already. Who's your money on to actually take the crown?
Oh my gosh, I mean, I can't go against the Solbergs. First of all, I love the father-son team. And I know there's a lot of sons here and a lot of fathers here on other teams that look at this and envy how the Solbergs get to live their life playing with each other like this and competing. But you can't underestimate. Neville is like unbelievable, and so is Philip. So they've been, I think, surprising a lot of people. You have some of the most experienced and some of the least experienced in the finals, and it's going to be a battle. But I think father-son may do a repeat.
Thank you.
Yeah.
He's right, isn't he, about, you know, that commitment from Oliver, how he's approached this, just maximum attack.
Yeah, he hasn't been afraid to make any mistakes in any way. He's just been flat out, and he has been super accurate in the way he's driven. So it's been a pleasure to watch.
It's final time. First 2 heats are done. 1 apiece. 1 for the All-Stars, 1 for Team Norway. Now Drogovic goes again, this time against Petter Solberg.
It's a lot to ask of Felipe, again, saying this, that he's coming from Formula 2. He's the reigning champion there, no question that he's a fantastic racing driver, but to take him so far out of his comfort zone, let's see if he can beat Petter Solberg here.
And off we go. Great start from Solberg. Drogovic slightly slower away from the line, with a tighter inside line. Drogovic in the orange, Petter Solberg in the blue and yellow. It's going to be a titanic effort if Drogovic can beat Petter Solberg, given his massive experience in these kind of conditions and these kind of cars. One of the all-time rally greats. For Drogovic, and we've learned one thing about him this week, is that he adapts and learns very, very fast.
The track right now looking very clean on the inside. You see that the ice, the loose snow on top has been all thrown out to the outside, so I do think there is a fair bit of grip if you're on the line, but if you miss the line, you go off, you miss the apex, it's devastating. Petter is losing a lot of time here, isn't he?
So Drogovic, 8.6 seconds back. That is a big gap. It's a big, big gap.
I had the cars mixed up.
There is Solberg, absolutely flying, just in complete control, really in the groove, metaphorically and literally around this track. So at ease, so at home. Beautiful run.
No hesitation, as we just said. Just a great run from start to finish. And it doesn't seem like they're afraid of making any mistakes. They're just fully committed, and they do hit, you know, they do go on the racing line all the time. Haven't put a foot wrong so far, and they take the lead in the finals here against Team All-Stars.
2-1, Petter Solberg, big smiles all round, and the Nations Cup can be decided in the next race. It's going to be Oliver Solberg against Thierry Neuville. Can Neuville do what no one has done today and beat Oliver Solberg?
It's a tough ask, but if anyone can do it, it might be Thierry.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
You see how clean the track is there on the inside. I'm sure that gives a lot of grip, and you have to carry more speed and use that grip. The risk, though, being that you carry too much speed and end up in the snow where there is zero grip right now. So the track is very demanding for the end of the racing today.
Brilliant run from Petter Solberg. Felipe Drogovic has done so well this week. No shame at all in coming home behind Petter Solberg, given all of his experience, given all of his knowledge. Are we looking at the eyes of the champions for 2023?
Can Oliver Solberg claim the title for Team Norway in this race, or can Thierry Neuville take it to a deciding final race?
It's Oliver Solberg, Thierry Neuville for the Race of Champions Nations Cup. It's a green light and we are away and racing. Neuville on the inside in the black car, Solberg on the outside in the blue car. Nice, neat, tidy so far. Oliver Solberg has been unbeatable, but can Neuville do what no one else has been able to ride on board with them both?
Two drivers with beautiful aggression here. You see them flicking the car in and out. You know, they're right on the limit, putting the wheel very near that loose snow on the outside, but staying in that grip, and that's so crucial. If you're not in the grip, you're not going forward.
Already up and over the jump then for Solberg. Over the line, Oliver Solberg, and now through comes Thierry Neuville. What's the gap? It's about exactly where it needs to be. 4.9. So close, so close.
Can Thierry Neuville take down Oliver Solberg, who's looked so strong today?
It's incredibly close between these two. This will be for championship honours. We watch Oliver Solberg Can he defeat Thierry Neuville? Can Neuville do what no one else has been able to do so far today and take the victory against Oliver Solberg? As we look on at Petter, are they about to be crowned champions once again in 2023? There comes Neuville in the background, Solberg in the foreground in the blue. It's going to be very, very close, but Norway are going to win the Nations Cup. Oliver Solberg, unstoppable, unbeatable, and champions once again. He hugs Felipe Drugovich, Petter Solberg. Oliver Solberg brings the car home. A brilliant, peerless, magnificent demonstration from Oliver Solberg, who is, frankly, unbeatable. Just sensational today.
He has put in such an incredible performance today, unbeaten in every single race. Whoever he was up against, he took the win, and in style, with margin. Look at him now, this is his moment.
He deserves it, deserves every moment. Petter will run out to go and join his son. Today, they are teammates. Tomorrow, they will be rivals. Petter and Oliver Solberg, Team Norway,
You gotta love these two.
Nations Cup champions once again.
Father and son taking the win against the very best nations in the world in Race of Champions here, and now they get to celebrate on top of the world.
What a beautiful story. And as Tanner Faust was saying, it's something that everyone here who is a dad is so envious of, that these guys get to race together as father and son. They get to compete and win. Champions in 2022. Champions in 2023, back-to-back snow and ice champions, Team Norway.
I'm so happy for them. What a day of racing we've had.
Fantastic.
They haven't had an easy way to the final either. Team Norway winning against Sweden in that semi-final.
Absolutely sensational. And there's Neil Cole, who'll be going down there and getting some words from our champions in 2023. It's Team Norway, Petter and Oliver Solberg.
Congratulations. The quickest so far today, Ollie, and you are the Race of Champions ROC Nations Cup winners again. How does that feel?
I don't know what you say, but it's fantastic to win again. And against Thierry Neuville now, which was my old teammate last year, and well, yeah, to kick his ass now was a great feeling.
And obviously you did your dad proud as well, Petter. What did you think of what Ollie's achieved?
His speed today has been enormous. You look at the times, you know, all of us, but it's been incredible. He saved me today, and I just have to buy him the dinner tonight, that's for sure.
Congratulations.
Phenomenal. You can see what it means to both of them. And I think Petter, absolutely right to say Oliver saved him on a couple of occasions today.
Yeah, I think any dad out there can relate to how proud Petter must be right now of his son.
Oh, it's a beautiful story, and it is a wonderful achievement. ROC Snow and Ice Nations Cup champions 2 years in a row. And the question marks that it pulls up for tomorrow, the storyline going into tomorrow. Can anyone defeat Oliver Solberg in these conditions, on this surface, in these cars? He just looks too good.
Yeah, I mean, he was untouchable today.
Completely.
And he didn't put a foot wrong. He had a big winning margin in every race. He was in a class of his own. And as Petter said, Oliver pulled the team through a couple of times, and here they are as Nations Cup winners, Norway.
And take nothing away from the All-Stars. You know, their first time here at the Race of Champions for Neuville and for Felipe Drugovich. I don't think Drugovich will scarcely be able to believe that he's up there on the podium, finished second in his first ever Race of Champions. I think it's a wonderful story.
I think he must have been pretty nervous coming here, going into something completely different, and he can't have expected to go all the way through to the final. It's an incredible result.
Done a sensational job, Felipe Drugovich and Thierry Neuville. Wonderful job from them both. First Race of Champions, and they go home with some silverware.
And the winners of the ROC Nations Cup 2023, to present the award to Team Norway, Lucy Nahodliva the Global Partnership Manager, IWC, and Jesse Johnson, Commercial Director of Race of Champions.
And there we go then. The trophies to the champions, hugs all round. And it's Norway. Once again. Unbeatable, unstoppable, perfect from Oliver. And the father-son duo. Ah, it's gorgeous, isn't it? It's just lovely to see them. So happy and so successful.
Yeah, you want to give them this moment, right? It makes me happy to see them celebrate like this together.
Porsche Sweden and Sanna Strömbäck, both of Porsche Sweden.
Absolutely lovely.
To celebrate.
And it'll be time for champagne very soon. What a wonderful demonstration of driving it's been today, and we get to do it all over again tomorrow with the individual race of champions for the champion of champions. But for now,
You've got to get the champagne open.
There we go. Time for champagne. And what a brilliant, brilliant race. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Join us again tomorrow. From us, though, here in Sweden, thank you so much, and we'll see you tomorrow.